I used rap back in the 90s, now I'm back on my own grounds, putting forth this ancient shit. You can hear it in the sound, my voice, giving you scholarship and there's no choice. I'm called Maine, so my main objective is go as I came, like Cain. We kill up our brothers because of the Bible way. Somebody that took the recessive brain, put it in a black man's head. My folks, they should all roll out with me just like these books I read. I'll bring your ass from amongst the dead, like I said. I'm bred, tell motherfuckers what the ancestors said. I'm bred to kill white supremacy as dead. I'm bred to tell you all I know about the melanin molecule. I wake sleep mass up out of they slump and sit in the school to solar and rules over a holographic attitude. That means that my demeanor is set to tell your ass the truth. That means that my position is here to give your ass the scoop. Don't need a binge when I ride. I'm a guy, a new interlude. I do this self-initiation to send one through this. So the MOTEP come up with the conclusion. Medical association is ruthless. My conclusions is to take these words as adjectives, nouns, and verbs, providing a spark for your spine. So when I speak them, they'll be heard. From the heart to the pineal, spirituality to show you what's really real. To God and man form, and the solution ain't the deal. To worship something outside yourself is to worship something inferior to yourself. You send it to a sin, so the only one who can save your ass is self. Sight beyond sight, like lion, though I come with my eye attached to my sword. Heart perceive my walk, actions perceive my thoughts. So I'm off to take a walk, is how I be dealing with my thoughts. I be staring at my people, y'all wanna be gods or not. I'm an alchemical nutcase, my pathwork got me moving at my own pace. I'm called Maine, so my main objective is to bring the pain I can't get fucked with. Literally, I'm in the cultist. I brought my fire from the heavens, I'm Prometheus. I shine my light in the darkness that makes me Lucifer. Get it? Psychologically, I'm inclined to do this shit till you can't fuck with it. Crushing every rapper, they don't have the mental capacity. Ain't talking about shit on their music, you motherfuckers is sloppy. So I'm back from the grave, knowledge I crave. Then I get assassin pussy, I'm Dionysus with my thesis. Raising my kundalini, I'm out the bottle, I'm the genie. People judge me how they want, but they really can't beat me. People push me to the point, but they really can't see me. With a camera lens and a bunch of friends in this 3D they living in, yeah. Let me hear that on.
All right, welcome. Peace and greetings to all the gods and the goddesses. Hopefully that's how you think of yourself. I want to welcome everybody to a rainy and wet Fort Lauderdale, Florida today. Had off and on rain. A little wet here. But other than that, can't complain. So we're just going to wait for some more people to roll in. Yeah, it was rainy today. We get that sometimes here. Get that rainy weather. But all in all, we can't complain, right? A lot of other things. Could be a lot fucking worse, right? All right. Just gonna wait for some more people to pile in, and we'll go over our topic for this evening. Our guest should be here shortly. We'll bring. We're not gonna talk about Game of Thrones. My wife wants me. She wants me to talk about Game of Thrones. I won't talk about that. Not gonna happen. Anyway, like I say, our guest should be here probably within 25 or 30 minutes. So I'm gonna kind of start it off. Get myself situated here. Just get. But before we do that, just we'll go through a couple quick announcements. I don't want to get myself too comfortable here because I get sleepy and shit. We have upcoming, just a reminder. Well, first off, in the last 2 days since the last video, I know several people have emailed me about the upcoming July classes. I did respond to everybody that emailed me. Those that did, I put you on that list. I will be completing it this weekend as far as the schedule and all the information you need to sign up for the class. So haven't sent anything out yet. As I said last Saturday, the final session of the current session just finished. So I'm just taking a little bit of a break. But since I had a lot of people email me, I decided to go to work a little earlier on it and get it set up. So nothing has gone out yet. So if you email me, I responded back saying I'm going to add you to the list, and as soon as that information is done and finished, I will email it out and send it to everybody that's on that list. If you are not on the list and you would like the information for the upcoming summer classes, which will begin July 20th, and I believe when I looked on the calendar, it's going to run to, I believe, August 24th or 26th, something like that. Send me an email, title the email, information for online classes, and I'll put you on the list. And as soon as that is finished, which I expect to be done with it in the next couple of days, I will get that out to you. All right. If you are interested in a reading or a consultation, which this week has been very busy, a little more busier than normal. It's actually packed this week. I know a few people today emailed me. I was able to squeeze, I believe, 2 of those 4 people that emailed me in this week. It's a little tight. So, email me with, again, your time zone is very important. Email me with the time zone where you live if you want a reading or a consultation, and we just go from there. I'll let you know what I have available as far as days and times that'll work with your schedule, and then we'll set something up. And specify an email if you want a reading or a consultation. Very important. All right. We also have the upcoming ritual on May 31st. Let me just make sure I get Raven the link so when she's ready to come in, she'll see it. Hold on one second. All right. So as I was saying, May 31st, which is Friday, that's the last Friday of the month, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our next ritual here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. If you are interested in attending, send me an email. I'll send you the flyer. Again, you must request an invite to attend. And the reason why we do that, we want to have a brief conversation with you to make sure you have a general understanding of what we're doing and make sure it's a fit for you and a fit for us. That's simply the reason why we do it. We don't just want anything and anybody showing up. It's not, I'm curious, let me see what's going on. We want to make sure you understand to an extent what it is we do and why we're doing it. So if you're interested in that, we put that out early, actually a few days ago, to give people that extra time. Obviously, if you are traveling from out of town or out of state, it gives you more time to prepare. All right. So if you're interested in that, contact me. The email you see in the description box, KHNUM19 at gmail.com. Also, a few more emails in the last few days about the October event. All right. And again, as I said, I will pump this every video, keep putting it out there. Just as a reminder, though, we are months away, as you know. That time will creep up real quick. We're in May already, and October, believe it or not, will more than likely be here before you know it. So that event will be a three-day event, October 25th to the 27th. All right. And that's the Journey of the Black Adept Conference 2 will be the second one. We did one last October. Looking to expand this one a little bit more. Kind of same format we will use as far as structure. There will be different classes, presentations, lectures. There will be 3 rituals performed over that weekend. And, obviously some basic socializing and things of that nature. It will be in the North Fort Lauderdale area. If you would like the full information on it, Again, you can email me, same email address, khnum19@gmail.com, which is in the description box of all the videos. And I'll be more than happy to send you the information. So that'll be in October. Looking next Thursday, gotta contact him, send him an email. Trying to get Bokor Rodney Coleman back on next Thursday. And some other guests we got upcoming for the month of May. Richard K. Page, I believe that's on the 19th or the 20th. I kept saying the 18th, and that wasn't right. But I'll get the exact information from him. So that's kind of events. That's kind of the announcements and what we got going on. All right. So what we're going to talk about this evening, you see the title. We'll expound more when our guest gets here. But I'm going to kind of start it off. When we start with the basic principle, as I said before, when you're dealing with, first, if you're new, let's kind of start with the basics. You might see the word spelled Daemonic in the title, and this is more so if you're a newer person. Let's clarify that for somebody newer watching that may not understand or might see this video when it uploads later. What is feminine or demonic energy, right? Not demon, but demonic. As we know, the etymology of the word that we've explained a bunch of times here is just a word that's used in the Greek language that describes the higher self, the real you, all these different terms that we use. As I said before, if you do your research, you will find when you trace those words, the word as it got grafted into monotheism then began to get, negative meaning behind it, because monotheism turned it into something evil. Or what a religious person would term evil. So we're talking about the higher self, the real you, the divine you. Now you deal with the feminine behind it, all right? And as I've mentioned before, the average person is going to hear the term male and female, and the mind automatically races to the basic definition, okay? The basic definition as far as gender in the physical form. We're not talking about that. That's just a very small aspect of it, okay? A very small aspect of it. When we talk about that demonic feminine, you might hear the term divine, all these different terms. We're talking about more so, and I'm going to use words that anybody could relate to, more so on the spiritual realm, right? Or the subjective, when we as adept or magicians work what we call spiritual magic, all right? So we have to be clear on understanding that. If you go into the Hermetic principles, and I mentioned this a multitude of times, the doctrine of gender that's mentioned in the 7 Hermetic principles, okay? It talks about gender manifests on all planes, right? Let me say that again. Gender manifests on all planes. So we have to ask ourselves, right? When we look here on the material plane, or the physical realm, as some will call it, right? If you ever noticed over time through the course of history, you'll hear men refer to their car as they'll use the term, she runs like a beauty, Mother Earth is a female, et cetera, et cetera. I say that to say real quick, we know because the physical plane or the material plane is governed by feminine energy. How do we know that? Because when we go back and do our just basic research, because we're going to start basic and then we're going to kind of pull it back, we find out that the oldest DNA that exists on the planet is the mitochondria DNA. And I've talked about this, scattered about through videos over the years. What is the mitochondrial DNA? This is key. We have to start there. It's the only way you're going to get an understanding of this. The mitochondrial DNA, as we know, and there's an article, and I know it was in 1993 Time magazine. I don't know the month, but you can Google it. And I always suggest people to kind of go look that up. as a reference point, but I'm 100% sure it's in the year 1993. And it's called The Mitochondrial Eve, right? That's the name of the article. And in that article, it talks all about this mitochondrial DNA. And it compares it to the male and the female. And what scientists come to the conclusion in that is that everything that the female has on the body, she has, in essence, what a male has on the body, including the penis, which is no different than the clitoris, right? Genetically, two breasts. When you look at the anatomy, the whole makeup, and again, this is what scientists are confirming. It gets into also the finding through carbon and fossil dating, the bones of Lucy. We've heard this term, which go back millions of years. So the oldest or living entity that they found, for lack of a better word, was feminine, not male, which contradicts and goes against obviously all the religious and the biblical stories. We know their mythology. We know they come from many other different cultures. So when you're reading, obviously the Bible, if you don't understand the history of it, you can get confused because it's a conglomeration of a multitude of different cultures, be it Sumerian, ancient Egypt, Hindu, Babylonian, especially the Old Testament or the Torah, which is the first 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Then you have the books of the prophets. That's a whole nother story, and which leads you into your New Testament, the Apocrypha. All this shit has been ciphered from cultures that predated it. And all of it push male chauvinism, right? It all leads to the assumption that the first individual created on the earth was male, which that's what religion will tell you. But science and history dictate something totally different. So this is covered up and suppressed. So the article that I'm talking about in Time Magazine kind of goes through all of this stuff. And then it gets into scientifically, what is the mitochondrial DNA? Well, it's the oldest DNA that they've traced back on the planet in human beings. And it's way more prominent in women than it is men. Men have very small traces of it. It's not that they don't have it. Obviously, they genetically inherit it, via, mixing their seed with a female. But this mitochondrial DNA is what keeps. Now, when we go into ancient Egypt, and I had a couple of things I'm going to point out here. When we go into ancient Egypt, we find that through this mitochondrial DNA is where they confirm that the seed or the lineage is kept on, it's kept alive. Now, in religion, it's taught opposite. We're taught that the seed or the genealogy continues to live on via the man. It's very patriarchal, it's very chauvinistic. That's not true, because this mitochondrial DNA is what keeps the genetics or the seed alive. Now, in some circles, they believe where on the surface in religions, especially in some very, outdated barbaric religions like Islam, it's not really as good of a thing. It's kind of in certain fanatical sects and even other sects that having female children is not really a good thing. It's always, a blessing to have a man, a boy child, etc., because they're taught this patriarchal illusion that the seed and the genealogy is kept alive through the male, which scientifically can be proven 100% incorrect. So these are all things that were done intentionally to steer us away from the truth and reality of the power of the divine. Well, in this case, we say demonic energy on the path to self-mastery, or the left-hand path. So it starts there, not with the man. We have to understand that. You should be very conscious of that when you're working with archetypes. And as I mentioned, I think it was Tuesday night, we were talking a little bit about working with some of these archetypes. Now let's look at the power of some of the key ones real quick that possess this feminine demonic energy, right? This prime, which goes back to that primordial chaos, or essence of many terms that we might use for it, but goes back to that prime state or original state. And look at what they symbolize. But before I do that, I'm gonna make it crystal clear. Hold on, let me see if I pull this up real quick. I think I already have it saved. Hold on 1 second. Before I go into that, I had a little something here I just wanted to scan through. Just give me 1 second. All right, this is what I wanted to go through. Let's understand this. And because it ties into Nun, the womb, which Nun is connected to that feminine demonic energy or chaotic energy. So there's a section here, Egyptian Cosmology, the Animated Universe by Muhammad Gaddawa. In my opinion, he's one of the best Egyptian scholars. He's got a series of books out. Some of them might be tough to get. They're tough to get. They're rare, not all in print, so they might kind of rip you off. If you go onto some of these websites, you can pull some of his books up via Scribd if you have to Scribe that. That is, you're able to do that. All right. So in the pre-creation beginning, Nun, nothingness. Every Egyptian creation text begins with the same basic belief that before the beginning of things, there was a liquidy, primeval abyss everywhere, endless and without boundaries or directions. And this is why you hear me saying when we talk about the inner abyss or the deep, dark abyss of subconscious mind, that's why you always hear me follow it up with there's no boundaries, there's no limitations, there's no restrictions. The only boundaries and restrictions that exist are the ones that you create and the ones that you accept. What are the ones that you accept? The dogmas and belief systems that you choose to adapt to as your reality. Those create the barriers and the restrictions, which starts to push you away from the primordial chaos or the core essence or substance of this information or this knowledge. Because once you're in faith, belief, and dogma, again, now you're in a state where you're able to be pretty much controlled, right? You're able to be dictated to. You're able to be, force-fed shit, whether it's true or not. And then it gets to the point where you just start blindly accepting it, all right? So everything comes from that primordial or primeval abyss, right? No limitations, right? Egyptians called this cosmic ocean / watery chaos Nun, the unpolarized state of matter. Water is formless, and of itself, it does not take on any shape, nor does it resist being shaped, okay? Scientists agree with the ancient Egyptian description of the origin of the universe as being an abyss. Scientists refer to this abyss as a neutron soup, where there are neither electrons nor protons, only neutrons forming one huge, extremely dense nucleus. Such chaos is the pre-creation state. Notice it said the pre-creation state was caused by the compression of matter, i.e. atoms that did not exist in their normal states, but were squeezed so closely together that many atomic nuclei were crowded into a space previously occupied by a single normal atom. Under such conditions, the electrons of these atoms were squeezed out of their orbits and moved about freely, i.e. in a chaotic, degenerate state. Nun, this is important right here because this is dealing with the essence of the divine feminine, the point of origin or the prime existence. Nun is the subjective being, the symbol of the unformed, undefined, undifferentiated energy / matter, inert or inactive, the uncreated state before the creation. It cannot be cause of its transformation. The term infinite, of course, is synonymous with not finite, undefined, unlimited, unshaped, undifferentiated, and so on. This means that the energy / matter out of which all things are formed must be in essence, essential state, unformed, undefined, undifferentiated, etc. If the material basis of the world had any essential definitions / or formations, these would act as limiting factors to its ability to be transformed infinitely. Its essentials lack of definition is an absolute requirement for God's creative omnipotence. All right. So Nun, let's focus real quick, because we find the divine feminine chaotic energy in this watery abyss, in this primordial abyss, this primordial chaos. When we read the story of Nun and Nunette, right? And we read the story of the chaotic waters of Nun in the Egyptian mysteries, what is that talking about? Well, it's talking about at the core of the womb of the female, right? In the story of the chaotic waters, it's representative of when the male ejaculates in the female and those sperm race, to get to the point where they can be created, go to the ovum of the female, right? Or, travel where need be to become life form. There's a chaotic race. When that happens, not all make it, only few or sometimes one does. So what that is, in essence, is describing the creation concept that takes place within the womb of the female, okay? So it's taken us, the womb of the female is a representation of that chaotic watery abyss. Now think about this for a minute. We all, male or female, spent, as it described here, and let me repeat, the term in the very beginning, right? It described that there was a liquidy primeval abyss. Now we all know we resided in a sac in water in the womb of our mother, the female. And we evolved over a 9-month period. We started to take life, to take form in that chaotic watery abyss. So I'm taking you there because this is where the divine or demonic feminine energy has its point of origin. So we all came through that liquidy chaotic abyss, and we were being bathed. When it talks about being bathed, washed and purified in the chaotic waters of Nun, you were being prepared for months in that liquidy sack, chaotic abyss. You were being engulfed and purified in that watery abyss, which is the darkness of that womb was being enlightened by the intellect of the female. Now let's go to some basic scientific principle, right? They'll tell you when the female is pregnant, it's very important, obviously, physically what she eats, not to drink alcohol, do any drugs, and eat the right foods, because that can affect the health of a child. But when you focus more on the intelligence that's transmitted through the child via the female that's carrying the seed, well, that's important too. So they say read certain things, say certain things, because even though we are encased in that chaotic watery abyss of Nun, we can still comprehend, we can still absorb, right? And this whole process, meanwhile, the whole time is taking place through the feminine divine. It's happening through the feminine body. Now, there's another scientific fact, which I'm sure if you're a female and you've had children, you should be aware of on this path. It's a known scientific fact that female children take more nutrients and more energy from the body of a female than does a male child, because they require, it's more work, they require more, which again shows that the male is a lesser manifestation on the physical realm. I'll make this clear, because when we go past the mental, there is no gender really. In essence, gender is not the same thing. When you're reading that breakdown in the 7 Hermetic principles that gender manifests on all planes, it's talking about the energy, the frequency and the vibration of it. And it's not the same thing as what we know as physical gender, male and female here on the physical realm. Don't get that confused and twisted, because physical gender, male and female, is irrelevant once we get from the mental plane and beyond. But this is why in all of your holy books and scriptures, God is written in as a man, and because men wrote that in there, which would be factually incorrect if we were tracing the origin and existence to what gender manifested first on the physical realm, and that would be the female. That's a scientific fact. I couldn't give two shits if anybody agrees with it, likes it or not. Do your research. If you're religious, oh well, get over it. Okay? That's one of the many lies that dogmas and faiths have been perpetrating for thousands of years now. So it starts there, and I liken that excerpt. I wanted to use the chaotic waters of Nun because, in essence, that's your story when you were in the womb, in that watery, chaotic abyss in the womb of your mother. You lived in water for 9 months before you emerged. So what was it that you were living in? Now we know placenta, right? Let's talk about this. Probably didn't think we would get into this type of shit, right? What is placenta, right? Well, that's one of the many fluids that's part of the birthing process. Now, in many spiritual systems, they'll tell you, they'll do this in Islam sometimes, in some ancient Hebrew traditions and others, that they'll tell you you should get the placenta of a child and bury it yourself because that contains the essence and the energy. Why? Essence of the energy, because that's connected to that chaotic watery abyss. That's one of the primordial substances that can be utilized. Now, it's said in some witchcraft and magical circles that can be used to work magic. That's why you should request it. Yeah, they might look at you funny. When they give it to you, it comes in this plastic container with a handle, and it's a whole nother story. But the reason why, you say, well, how can that be used as a magical element or a tool in ritualistic work? Real easy, because it's connected to that primordial chaotic abyss or the essence of that person, right? This is these are things that people don't know or don't understand. Yes, it can be used in work and magic. And a good practicing witch or magician knows the sciences of doing that. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. All right. Should be here soon, I hope. All right. So that's kind of why I went to Nun. Okay. Because that's the point of origin. So we kind of want to start, in a sense, basic, if that's the right term. To me, it's basic, but we need to start and get the basic understanding of this down pat, because the illusion is always taught reverse, and that's just not the truth. Now, when we back up, let's take a quick look at some of these archetypes, right? We look at Sekhmet, we look at Santissima Muerte, the Holy Death, we look at Kali, we look at Lilith, and we could probably throw some more in that equation, but I'm going to take some of the main ones, all right? And when you look at that compared to outside of aspects of the adversary, we can get into, Satan, Set, Azazel, Samael, Melech Taus. We can get into a drama. We can get into all these different aspects. Outside of that, you really can't ramble off outside of aspects of the adversary too many individual male archetypes that have the same intensity as the aforementioned. Why is that? Okay. When you look at Holy Death, Kali, Sekhmet, they're similar yet different, right? They all deal with intense, I always tell people this, they all deal with intense path clearing or road clearing energy. Path clearing or road clearing energy for what? Path clearing and road clearing energy to remove obstacles that might be preventing you from growing spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, what I like to call 5 principles of path to self-mastery, right? It always starts there, and we're back to the point of origin with the divine, demonic feminine energy, right? They provide that, as I like to quote, tough motherly love type of energy. It's not the coddling shit, as I said many times before, because sometimes that's what people need to have everything turned upside down when it comes to their spirituality, so they can come to the realization of what's really going on. All right. Because most people find that they have been and are dealing with an illusionary state of existence. We hear this term. What does that mean? What creates that illusionary state of existence, right? What we were talking about earlier, dogmas, misinformation, indoctrination. That links you into all of those things, all right? All right, so we should be here shortly. All right. But when you deal with the concept, right, and how you choose to work with it, that's up to you. There's ways you can play around with it, like everything else I said. Is ways you should adjust and make changes and format things to fit your liking and your personal growth. By all means, never do anything, rigid right out the box as you read it, because that's the wrong thing or the wrong thing to do. All right. So hold on. There's one more section I wanted to get to. Where is it? All right. All right. So something I want to get into real quick. Now I ain't gonna stay on it too long. Is what they call Ma'at, or the divine order. All right. Okay. See, we got our guest here, Raven. Raven, can you hear me? Hello, Raven. Can you hear me? Hello, 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 hello.
Yes,
All right. I'm gonna finish.
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this last section.
I
If
can
you
hear
want
you.
to come in and interject anything, feel free. Okay. Okay.
Will do.
All right. So Ma'at, the divine order. I want to just finish with this short section. It ain't gonna come at you with that Hotep bullshit, because that's not. It goes a little bit beyond that. All right. Now we see, and as I mentioned before, to understand or truly grasp Ma'at, you must have an understanding of the 7 Hermetic principles. You hear me say that all the time. But let's look at this real quick on a surface level, because the divine order, according to the Egyptian mysteries, is governed by the feminine energy too. So watch this. For the deeply religious people of Egypt, the creation of the universe was not a physical event that just happened. It was an orderly event that was pre-planned and executed according to an orderly divine law that governs the physical and metaphysical worlds. So we read in the book of Knowing, the creations of Ra and overcoming of Pep, known as the Bremer-Rind Papyrus, and I quote, "I had not yet found a place upon which I could stand. I conceived the divine plan of law or order, Ma'at, to make all forms. I was alone. I had not yet emitted Shu," which Shu we know is the wind, "nor had I emitted Tefnut, which is the water," right? "Nor existed any other who could act together with me." Ma'at is the goddess that represents the principle of cosmic order, the concept by which not only men, but also the material gods or goddesses themselves were governed, and without which the material gods or goddess are functionless. So the whole functionality, foundation of the cosmology or the formation of the Egyptian mysteries and teachings is not governed or ruled by a male, it's a female. Why is that significant? That's significant on many levels, because if we go back into the 7 Hermetic principles, right? Now we're dealing with the scribe, Tahuti, right? And there's many different forms. So what he's showing you if you understand those 7 hermetic principles, what he's showing you is the principles that govern the subjective or the spiritual realm. And having a thorough understanding of that really gives more clarity on as above, so below, as within, so without. Now, the governing, as it says here, what keeps that intact here on the objective is the concept of ma'at, the female. So again, we're back to that as we term it on this path, the feminine demonic energy. And that's why, again, I wanted to briefly touch on Nun, the chaotic waters, and we all live in those chaotic waters in the womb of the female for 9 months. We're being prepared, right? We live in that sack, watery abyss for 9 months before we emerge. That's male or female. So you're prepped with that from day one. It's unavoidable, all right? Raven, I don't know how long you were listening, but I don't know if you have anything that you want to kick in on that. I don't know if you heard. I know you kind of probably just popped in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I kind of just popped in. Yeah, I wasn't listening long.
Okay. All right. All right. So
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
you was talking about ancient Egypt. Oh shit. You was talking about shit. You was talking about the chaotic waters.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Well, anyway, I was just starting there until you were able to connect.
Wow.
So I kind of wanted to leave that now, and I started to, I guess, right before you were able to connect, I started to talk about some of the key archetypes that we utilize on this path. In my opinion, the more powerful ones, the more intense ones, are female. And I was talking about, and so I'm going to pose a couple of questions to you about them. I was talking about the Holy Death, or Santissima Muerte, as some know. I was talking about Kali, Sekhmet, Lilith, some of the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
So let's first start with, obviously, it's better to hear it from a female.
Mm-hmm.
Taking away some of the stereotypes. Let's start with Lilith first.
All right.
Because with Lilith, there are, in my opinion, some stereotypes, unfortunately. But in your words, your experience, ritualistic work, and what you've encountered with it, how would you basically describe how you've interacted or worked? Specifically, now we're talking about Lilith. You could give us some examples.
Sure. Examples would be that I've done some work with Lydia out of the the Val Cadman book on Lydia of mantras. And I have also worked with Lydia in sex magic. Those are two areas that I have worked with Lydia. Now, in my experience, my encounters in doing both ritualistic work, whether it's working with the mantras or in sex magic.
Mm-hmm.
Even in sex magic, let me just say this here too. Even in sex magic, well, let me say this first. I have no issues there. So let me just put that out. I have no issues there. I'm confident and well within myself as a female. So when dealing with Lilith, the power in mantras, even in the mantra magic, sex magic, it's powerful. It's a powerful energy. It's seductive, but it's not in dealing with sex magic, it's seductive, but it's not like this here, like you can't control yourself type of energy, sexual energy.
Right.
Why? Because you go in there with the game plan. You go knowing what your focus is. what you're trying to do, and you try to maintain that.
Right.
So I think long as you are entertaining or working with these energies in a sound mind manner, you don't have issues. I think the issues arise when people don't, and I don't think they, in my opinion, my estimation, maybe you get those kind of results, you just make you lose yourself.
Right.
I don't get that. I don't get that.
Well,
It's in it, and the energy too can be motherly, just like Santissimo Morete. You know, the energy can be motherly. It is, to me, it embodies what a female should be.
right.
So, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you said
yeah.
something. Let's back up. Sound mind, sound body. So I want to talk about that, and I also want to talk about from the work, the changes and the results of practice. Well, let's back up first. In your experience from your work, and again, we're not saying that your experience is going to be identical to everybody else, but I'm sure there'll be a
No,
lot of similarities. We know that.
right.
But the importance of a sound mind, sound body in working with this now, especially archetype like Lilith, because of the intensity of Lilith. Did you find, any relativity to that, and as far as the
Very.
intensity and how it
Yeah.
affects you? Let's talk about that a little
No,
bit.
yeah, sure. Very much so, to the fact that I wouldn't advise anyone to work with that kind of energy because of the power of it. And it can be kind of consuming. And if you're not well with it, you're not grounded, you're not in right sign, right mind, it's going to take you, it's going to dominate you, and it's going to work its will through you. And the deal is that you're supposed to be the commander, as you want to say, of that energy. You
Right.
work that energy how you see fit. You don't let the energy work you. That's the best way I can put it,
Uh-huh.
in my words. So yeah, you can, because I can see, especially in sex magic with
Uh-huh.
Lilith, just simply because what she represents. I know she's the mother. We all know about her, all her children, we all know the story. That energy that's powerful, and it can just make you kind of kooky if you're not practicing or doing things to make sure you are grounded, and make sure that you're not going to Spookville if something happens.
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen that. I want to touch on that for a little bit. Over the years, I've seen, and I'm glad you say that, keep you staying grounded and preventing you from going to Spookville. I want to put some clarity on that real quick. I'm glad you mentioned that. I've seen many people over the years get involved in systems of spirituality. I'm not just talking left-hand path. I've seen it. It could be in Kemetic conscious circles. I've seen it in IFA, etc. And of course, I've seen it in this path. And it can be more intense on this path, what you just mentioned, is because people sometimes can get so locked in their subjective. And that's why before you came on, I was talking about the harmonization between the 7 Hermetic principles and the principles of Ma'at, which give you that harmony between your subjective and objective. But what I've tended to seen happen, what you just talked about going to Spookville, even though that's being funny, but it's true.
It's true.
Some people get so caught up in their subjective realm and everything is subjective. They get spooked out on their personal experiences. They start, rambling about all these different things. And what they tend to fail to realize that, one, it's subjective. And then where they really are crossing that thread is they start trying to convince others to accept and validate their personal experience. Those are
And
all
you can't do
signs.
that. Yeah, but you can't do that. As you stated, that's your own experience. It's yours,
Right.
and it's yours. Simple as that. I can tell you, I had an experience. I had an experience with doing after. Well, I had impressions. You know what I mean? But I didn't go. Oh, Lydia was all over me, and she, you know what I mean? I didn't do any of that. You do your rationalizations, you do those deductibles first. You know what I mean? Before you go there. And I think people are so hell fucking bent on being supernatural, okay, that they lose their place in the, I'm gonna say, in the universe, in their own universe, because it's in their own mind,
There you go.
and then that sends them over the edge because everybody wants to be so fucking magical. You say it like 1,000 times to one. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own, if you want to say, gifts or things that they're good at. Work on that. Be
Exactly.
good at that. You
Exactly.
know, there's nothing wrong with that. And if it's meant for you, it'll be.
Right.
That's simple, but everybody wants to be popular with all that spookville shit. But yeah. I don't want to ramble.
So I brought up Lilith first because, as you know, on the show for the last several weeks, we've been talking about the Klipothic, well, not just the Klipothic tree. We were talking about the other side, the Citra Aqua. We were talking about the void and the darkness. So since we're talking about the feminine demonic energy, we even see on that other side, in that dark abyss, and I started with the surface of Nun and how we as humans are encased and engulfed in that chaotic watery abyss in the womb of our mother before we emerge for 9 months. And there's a significance with the 9, but we'll get into that another time. But we even see in that darkness and chaotic abyss, the feminine energy again, is the guide. It's not, I don't know why everything manifests with this male stuff, but we see in that spiritual system that Lilith guides us, through that darkness. Now you mentioned seductive and seduction, which doesn't just mean physical stuff or sexual stuff.
No, it doesn't. And I had wanted to back up to that because you reminded me because even the ritual on last Friday, that has to do with knowledge. Lilith can broaden your knowledge on your knowledge base. I don't think there was a verse in that or a word in that ritual that had anything to do with sexual energy.
Not at
all. Okay, not a word. And I think it was females there. I didn't hear anybody talk about being all hot and heavy,
Right. And the reason, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All I was going to state that I didn't hear anyone say afterwards that they felt all like they need to go home and get with their mate.
Right.
We all felt great. We all felt certain amount of power, certain amount of peace, ecstatic. Yeah, which can also be a form of seduction. But yeah.
Correct. And I bring that up because the part that we were going over a couple of weeks back and dealing with, it used the term, I believe it was in Acid Mason's book. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was that book that I took some excerpts out of. And she was talking about in there how via seduction and lust, not sexually, but it increases the desire for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. She incites that insatious quest and thirst for that knowledge and that wisdom, right? And that should be everybody's goal on this path, to gain the knowledge and the wisdom. The only reason why I brought it up is because, as you know, I constantly get a little nauseated we always see a lot of these females on the surface with the mundane shit. I'm a goddess and blah, blah, blah. And they always
it works my nerves.
Right. So that's why I had brought it up. All right.
Yeah, because you know what that says to me? That says to me when they constantly do stuff like that they have insecurities within themselves that they need to address. That means that you're not addressing something if you have to always be seen as some fucking goddess.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Some sexual goddess. You as a woman, you as a woman should exude that naturally. As a woman.
Right.
I don't care how ugly you are, you're gonna exude it. You know what I mean? Because somebody's always beautiful to somebody.
Right.
So yeah.
I agree. Good point. That's
shit
true.
is overrated.
Yeah, that's true. But that's why I say, and like I said, this show start getting in the habit of greeting people as gods or goddesses, not because the physicality of it, because it's a state of mind. It's a state of responsibility too that comes along with it. So, I'm bringing all that up because obviously I want to remove, and it's good to hear you talk about it and say it, and listeners can hear it from a female. I want to try to remove some of those stereotypes. Now, again, not that that stuff isn't there, and I've said that before. It's there, it exists, but it's not the only thing. All right. So let's move on now to the Holy Death. Let's talk a little bit, because I know you got from what you've shared in the past and talked about on the show. I know you've got experience, personal experience and ritualistic experience working with the Holy Death. Now here we are dealing with another demonic feminine energy. I mean, before you came on, when I was comparing some of these archetypes, just so you understand where I was trying to go with it, they're very similar, but yet very different. That's the best way I can describe it.
Very different. Very different. Even if like I just stated that how Lilith can be still feel kind of like that motherly, but it's still different. Like any other mother, like your mother is different from my mother, but it's a motherly energy, right? Same deal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Good.
Because, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because, there's the stereotype, and also with the Holy Death. What is the stereotype? She's the patron of prostitutes and drug dealers, and
right.
People that are ignorant to it. Oh, the Mexican cartels, use her. You work with her to do that. That's just such a small portion of it. So in your work with the Holy Death, to get that bullshit out the way, let's talk about some of the change and the results that you have gotten. But let's be a little specific. Like, you got to get into detail with personal stuff, but at least be a little bit specific so people can get an understanding when you work with those. Now, you use the term more of a motherly nature type energy. Let's first, just what do you mean when you say that? What kind of motherly nature type of energy are you describing in your experience?
Well, in my experience is I hope you can hear me okay because I'm driving and I may
Oh no, we can hear you good.
go in and out. So
yeah, no.
If I do, just let me know, okay?
We can hear you good. Everybody can hear you. I don't hear anybody complaining. I can hear you crystal clear. You're good. Okay,
because it's raining and okay, because it's raining and they're doing a lot of construction over here. But
yeah,
as for me, wow, I know some people have heard before about my experience with the Holy Death, but that when I speak of that motherly energy, she's gonna help you correct your faults, and she's gonna help you get your shit together. That kind of motherly energy that I receive from working with the Holy Death.
Right.
It's not gonna she's gonna say you need to fix this out about yourself. So we're gonna bring opportunities about to help you fix that. You're not gonna hide and run from it. You're gonna fix the shit. And that's exactly what happens. But she'll help you fix it. And it's not some like it turned my world kind of upside down, but it was a good change. I needed that change. And that was my first message from her, was that my life was going to change, and it did exactly that. I didn't know how, and I just prepared myself for it as best I could for the change, and just walked through the change. I didn't give up like some people would give up and go backwards,
right,
and go back to where they're comfortable. With change is constant.
So let me back up on one thing you said. If you could explain to everybody listening a little more. When you say turn your world upside down, can you share some examples? I mean, you could be discreet. You ain't got to be, you ain't got to get into depth personal. Like, what specifically comes to mind when you use that term upside down, just so listeners that are listening can kind of maybe get an understanding of that.
Oh.
You still there?
Oh, what you say? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was saying I think we lost connection for a second. I was saying that
Yeah.
when you used the term a minute ago, you used the term in your process of working with the Holy Death. One of the ways you described it was it can turn, you know, things in your life upside down. And I was just saying, can you give us maybe one example, you know, that you can liken why you made that statement? Like what specifically? Just, you know, one particular area that you can equate that
Like
to.
what Pacific changed?
Yeah.
Um. Well, I'll go recent. Well, I did work with the Holy Death too. Um. For self confidence, I had a
Okay.
lot happen
Okay.
in the last 4 years, but especially in the last 2 years when I didn't realize. Oh, I'm sorry, it's lightning. I
Mhm.
didn't realize how much I was tied in with my
Okay.
father, and I didn't realize how much of myself was tied into my father. I didn't realize how much he kept me afloat emotionally.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
I didn't realize how much he was my rock, my helped me with that confidence. Like Sonya, you can do it,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so when he left me here by myself, okay, and I didn't realize it. So my confidence was shaking a little bit,
Right.
and so when I realized that was part of my issue, um, I created a whole ritual to work with the Holy Death to correct that within myself, and I asked for opportunities for to be. I asked for opportunities for me to first see the opportunity, to know that it's an opportunity to work on my self confidence
Okay.
and to be triumphant in that. So
Gotcha.
that's what it was, to work on
Okay.
my self confidence, to recognize the opportunity too, because sometimes we cannot, because I'm not a selfish person and I'm not egotistical. I really am. I'm that team player, right? So a lot of things I would just throw to the wayside. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure I recognized whatever opportunity that was coming my way, to recognize it and excel through it.
Right.
And by me creating my own ritual, I did it for a week. Uh, but it didn't take a week for that to manifest. I did the ritual for a week, but by the next day, I was already being presented with opportunities to correct that within myself. So that's a recent example that I can give.
Okay.
And yeah.
No. Go ahead. If you have more, go ahead. I mean to cut you off.
Um. No.
All right. I'm glad you said that. The reason why, because I want people to understand what you're talking about there, and that's a great example that you just shared. That's actually doing work, right? I'm trying to remove the spooky shit, but let people know. I think sometimes people still have this concept of this path, and we get caught up in a lot of the externals. What I mean by the externals is the imagery, the descriptions, the lore of it all, and some of the stereotypes that come along with it. I think we get caught up on it, just like other people do on other systems and paths. But you gave a good concrete example, self-confidence, right? And that's important in relation to that specific issue with the relationship with your father. That's issues when we talk about bringing stuff to the surface, and that's why I'm glad you used that as an example. When we talk about on this path, when you unlock that stuff that's buried deep and bring it to the surface. I'm sorry, that's a great example of what we're talking about. So I'm
But you
glad.
know what? But you know what too? And I would say this here: working with the Holy Death, because I had to, the first, I just keep going back to whenever I talk about the Holy Death and talk about the change that has been brought about. It was required. I didn't seek out the Holy Death. I didn't, like some people, like, oh, I want to work with the Holy Death. Oh, because she's so dark and mystical. Oh. I wasn't even on that length, that vein. I wasn't even with that. You know what I mean? I was simply going along, learning what I can learn, and that was what I was doing. Okay. I was
Well,
taking the slow road.
I'm glad you bring that up. And you're right. The Holy Death comes to those who are supposed to work with the Holy Death. There's a saying that her children are marked for death. Now, that doesn't mean they're physically going to die. Because you can hear something like that and go, oh, that sounds fucking dreary and gloomy. The Holy Death will always present herself at some point through some method for an individual that's supposed to work with them. And it's usually, like you said, they didn't really seek it out. It either came to them via somebody else or they just randomly ran into it. And that's usually the way it happens. And I'm glad the examples, that you're sharing is important because as I always constantly talk about, when I say it's work, I literally mean the shit is work. And I don't think people, really, I'm not saying all, but I think a lot of people don't really understand the amount of work that really goes into this,
No, not if you're serious about making a change. Like people like to play with this here. I don't have time for games. This is not play for me. It's just not play for me. My growth, my spiritual self correcting issues and shit in my life is exactly about that. It's correcting shit in my life. Just like as you know, like we do ritual work
Mhm.
down here. I just don't and you said it 1,000 times, the smaller the better. Because when people get around me with that bullshit, they want to I instantly I want them to fuck off. Because it's not no game to me. This is not no church. This is not none of that fuckery shit. This is about doing work to make change. And if you want to try to be around me with all these play games and you want to play spiritual, you can bounce with that.
Right.
This is literally about doing work. And I'm serious about doing work. I'm serious about making changes in my life. You can play with it. That's you. That's your life. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But you ain't gonna come in my vicinity with that bullshit. I have to keep myself down sometimes, I know. Because I get rowdy,
No,
rowdy,
no,
rowdy,
no, it's all
rowdy.
right. It's all right.
But that's just that energy. Yeah, but that's that energy that I walk with. I don't do that. I
Mhm.
respect your lane, respect mine. If you want to play games with it, you play games with it. That's
Mhm.
your choice, right? I don't have, but you're not going to
Yeah,
impede on my
yeah.
growth either. You know, I'm not even having that.
Mhm.
But with that being said, working with the Holy Death, she will bring change about. And it's not no spooky shit. It's not no, um, like, I guess what for me, my life did get tossed upside down. Um, in every aspect of my life, it was turned upside
Okay.
down. Um, and if you're serious about doing the work, it will pay off. And that's the other thing I want to say about instant gratification. Instant results, not gratification. Instant results. Everything is not about an instant result
That's
either.
right. That's right.
You got to put in the work and you have to learn and grow about yourself. There are things that have been programmed within you that you're going to have to work that shit out.
Right.
Simple. And working with the Holy Death has done that for me. I ain't going nowhere. It's me and the Holy Death. That's my ride or die. Um, that's my ride or die.
Right. Right.
She lets me know, that energy lets me know when I need to do certain things as
Hmm.
well, because I work with that
Right.
energy all the time. So anyway,
Right.
but yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm gonna be quiet.
No, I'm glad you said that because I always talk about something with people, the inner awareness, right? People sometimes don't give that enough of, in my opinion, attention because with that consistency comes that inner awareness when you do the work. But I want to back up on something you said, which is very important. Now, we always talk about patience is the hardest school to master, and it is for all of us, including myself. You said something that I think, in my opinion, is not really talked about enough. Some people do come into it with the mindset they want the instant results. They want the, boom, boom. I mean, we live in a world where everything is quick now. We want everything right on the spot, fast. That transitions into our everyday life, unfortunately. But as we know, this is an ongoing process. It's ongoing work. Um, and if one is consistent, yeah. Mhm.
Ongoing process. And
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
mm-hmm.
No, no,
Go
no. Go ahead. I
ahead.
was done.
No, I was just no. I was just saying with you. It's an ongoing process. change, and nothing you got you know it took years for you to get a certain way. It's going to take some time for you to the same way to get up out of
That's
that
right.
mess, whatever that
Right.
is. Thought patterns, behavioral patterns, circles. It took you some time to get in. It's going to take you some time to get out of it. And you stick with it, you're going to be better for it. You're going to have you have the knowledge and the wisdom to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll make you more successful because you have worked out some things within yourself. But yeah, working with the Holy Death for me has been like that. And I do feel like, honestly, I do feel like I'm connected to her as truly as if I was called to her. That's how I honestly feel about it. That I don't think back then I wouldn't have done that. Even how mean the hell I am, I just would not have chosen the Holy Death. Not something to work with first. I probably would have
Right. No, that's true.
tried to do something a little lighter. But even my first experience was nothing like to throw me off kilter. It was very energetic and it was straight to the point. The message was straight to the point.
And that's pretty much how Holy Death will work. Ain't no cutting, no corners. Straight to the point. But again, I do want to stress, and I want to stress hard, that that being patient. And again, sometimes we're not talking about be patient where it could, it could take an eternity. No, it will happen. But again, that patience or that waiting period tends to decrease when you're consistent in what you do. And I think I find the people that want it like this, the problem, they don't work consistently. They think they're going to do one thing, maybe two things or whatever, three, maybe whatever. And that's it. And then they get frustrated. Oh, why didn't it happen? This doesn't work like that. That's not.
You know what? To that, it's been 2 years. And I'm going to tell everybody, I feel fucking great. It's been 2 years and I finally turned the corner. I felt it coming after I did the ritual that I just explained to everybody. That's why I chose to speak about that particular one. I've had my ups and downs. I've had my successes and I've had my failures. But the difference is that I worked through that shit to figure out what is it that I'm missing. You understand? I didn't give up. Like what the fuck it is I'm missing. And as doing the work brings that to the forefront, as you were just speaking about. You have to literally, working with the Holy Death has literally it's like peeling a fucking onion, one layer at a fucking time. All that shit couldn't have been peeled back. I have trauma in my life, right? So if all that shit would have been peeled back all at the same time, that wouldn't have been a pretty look.
Exactly.
I got to live. That wouldn't have been pretty, right?
Correct.
So recognize the issue, corrected, and for you to work on that. Once that's dealt with, trust me and believe the next one is coming. Okay. So yeah, the next one is coming.
Yep. No, good. I want to go through a couple more things, but we're going to do in about 15 minutes or less at 9:30. We will, we'll finish up with some phone calls. If you want to call in and ask Raven a question, I'll open the phone line shortly. If you want to come in live and talk to her and ask her a question, you can do that. So I'm going to do that shortly. I just got a few more questions for her, and then I will open up the phone lines. And again, if you want to come in live, just go ahead and type in the bottom of the chat, and I'll send a link to you. And then you'll be able to come in live if you so choose and want to ask a question. All right, I want to shift real quick let's talk about Kali now. Right, so I'm doing this because
shit, just did work with Kali this morning.
Yeah. All right, I want to do this because I want listeners, one, when I said earlier, they're very similar yet different. What I mean, they're similar as far in as the results and the work, but very different in how you connect with them energy wise. That the energy is different with all of them. But where they have the similarity, in my opinion, right?
It's very different.
Where they have
very
the
different.
similarity, in my opinion,
Yep.
is they're very aggressive, straight to the point, cut no corners. All right. So let's talk about Kali now. All right. In your work and your experience, rituals, etc. What type of ritualistic work have you found, or that you've done? And if you could, again, like you did with the Holy Death, kind of describe maybe some of the experience of it. I mean, you can pick whatever you want. It's irrelevant. I think. Can you hear us? Yeah, we can hear you now. I think we lost you for a couple seconds there. But yeah, we can hear you.
Nah, you was breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
There. I guess you asked me about Kali, right? So with Kali, my first experience was doing mantras into powerful energy. It didn't feel so motherly, but it was powerful, and it was still the same thing. Dealing with your shit. I was doing mantras, and she brought up shit that need to be correct, things that need to be addressed. Yeah, it's just things that need to be addressed. And we've done other ritualistic work that we've had rituals here that we did with Kali too. And group mantras that we've done with Kali as well. And powerful. I'm going back. I'm sorry. I'm going time traveling. Hold on. Time traveling. Okay. The energy would just straight to the point, show you the shit that you needed to fix. But also I felt guided and protected. It didn't feel like yes, I'm gonna show you what you need to deal with, but I'm here. Type of feel to it. And just like I was, as I stated a little bit before, this morning I just felt the need to work with Kali. I was getting ready for work, and I lit some incense, and it went from lighting incense to standing in front of my altar that has Kali and doing the mantra. And it's just like that. It was needed. I know it was needed, and I just went with it. I didn't fight, bite, make excuses. I know I need to get to work, but I stood my ass there and did what I had to do because it had to be for a reason. She was letting me know.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. How would you explain? Because it's something you said. I always tell people that comes with consistency. But how would you explain what, in your opinion, causes just something happens out of the blue and you get the urge, like you say, in a case like today, to just randomly do some work with Kali? How do you explain that when it's not on your mind, you didn't plan it?
Sure enough, didn't.
Right. It just randomly comes. Your expert, what would you liken that to? I mean, what do you think the reasons in your, in your words?
It was just like that. It was just like, wow. It's almost like that. It wasn't like a urge, but you can call it an urge just because I don't have the word for it. And it is like an urge. It's like when I just felt myself being drawn towards it, and I was literally just talking to my daughter. We were just talking about what was going to be happening for her today. What was on the agenda for today, and I just was talking, and I lit the incense, and it was like, you need to do a mantra. And it was just, that was the thought, and that's exactly what I did. And and you're right, that comes with experience, to know that spirit communicating to you to do something. And that's the best way I can. That's the best I can.
The reason why I'm asking you to explain that for the listeners, I'm trying to get the listeners to see that's really also your, you could use the word intuition. That's really your personal daemon or your higher self communicating to you. I'm trying to get people to see that when you're doing things naturally, like stuff like that, when the intuition kicks in like that, you could use the word urge, same thing. When it's coming randomly like that out of the blue, that's why when you were just saying a few minutes ago, it comes with experience and consistency and doing the work. And this is why I'm saying all this, and I'm asking these questions for a reason, because this is what I mean when I talk about the inner awareness that people don't listen to enough. I've even termed it over the weeks, trusting your intuition and your spiritual messages. Right? We don't do that enough. That's the God that, or the goddess that dwells within, right? We talk about it, but then we negate that, and then we're still looking for external shit as confirmation. But that's not enough. And then sometimes we look for somebody else to validate it, right?
Yeah, stop that shit. Stop that shit because there's no one else that can validate it but you. It's
Exactly.
your experience. It's your intuition trying to get your attention. And nobody can validate that. And that too, I'm glad you state that because that worked my nerves too. People always looking for somebody else to co-sign or oh I was walking along and all of a sudden I had the urge to light a candle or whatever shit to Kylie. Should I do it? Should I? Well, what the fuck you think you should do?
Exactly.
It already told you what you needed to do. So what do you think you should do?
But it's almost like we've been programmed to not accept the
Trust,
reality
and
of
we have, and that's what I was talking about. Not to cut y'all, but that's what I was saying earlier. That when you do work, you get that out your system. You get that. So if your whole deal to be on this path, I am God. So if you're such a God, you got to get that from birth programming shit about your system and being able to trust yourself. Being God is trusting yourself.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well,
I'm going to mute myself for
unfortunately,
a moment.
yeah, unfortunately, we have a lot of goddamn fools on this path. I hate to say it. But that's why I'm going through these series of questions because I want listeners, we really, all of us need to grasp that on this path. Stop trying to get outside validation. Don't second guess, your spiritual messages. But at the same token, let me also throw this out there as a disclaimer. Stay grounded in motherfucking reality. That doesn't mean you need to push all your personal spiritual experiences on somebody like Raven was just talking about. That can be one, fucking annoying. Two, it can kind of make you look like a space fucking cadet. So three, we have to really understand there's a way. Like I said, that comes up in certain scenarios and situations where you might be in a conversation or a dialogue with somebody if you had similar or like experiences. So it's not about anything external or getting people to co-sign and validate your shit. But I think that comes with a lot of mental programming that the mental programming, in my opinion, that's there on a deep subconscious level that we're not aware of. It's like we've been taught not to trust not only, certain individuals, but we've been taught not to trust ourselves, right? You can't be a god or a goddess or make that claim on this path, but you're still looking for some outside validation for your power, for the work that you do, right? And I said, I've mentioned this many times before over the last few months. One of the emails I hate to get the most. This is the
Mm-hmm.
email I hate to get more than any other email. Is somebody sharing an email with me about a ritual they did. And I'm reading it and everything's great. I did this work, such and such and such. This is how I did it. And then they, you get later on down into the email, they talk about, oh, I got these fantastic results, blah, blah. I'm like, good. This is great. This is good. It's this person that's grasping it. And then when I get to the bottom of the motherfucking email, it's like, wow, it just gets killed because then they forward, do you think I did it right? You think I did this or that, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just like, you just fucked up the whole thing right there. Why?
But it's okay. It's okay to go, not to cut you off, but it's okay to go. I did a, or no, before you even do it, it's okay to try to seek counsel and advice just to make sure that you're in line and you're interpreting something correctly. That's okay, right?
Right.
But not to do something and then get your results and then question it afterwards. That's crazy.
Right. That's where you diminish your power. I keep telling people that, because when we make the statement at the end of ritualistic work, if you are doing it and you're doing it definitively and you really mean it with sincere passion, inner fire and energy, when you say "so it is done," that's why we don't use the fluffy term "so mote it be" that's used in a lot of gray side paths in high magic. So mote it be means I'm going to leave it to fucking whatever. Like I'm powerless. I'm leaving it to some divine spooky force. So when you're saying, so it is done, you're making a definitive statement. You're saying within yourself, it is done, but not just it's finished. It is done corrected. It's right. It's what it needs to be. So what I'm saying is, if you've got results, don't even question. You did it the way it was needed to be done. There's no should I.
Okay, so now we're back to self-confidence.
And that ties into kind of what you were saying earlier. That self-confidence plays a huge role in that. Do you really? I don't think people understand the power of invocation and how it works. Performative utterance. We went over this in detail in the online class sessions. I mean, a little bit more that I can't go into here. It would take too long. That's where you fuel it with your passion and your power. But the question each magician has to ask themselves when they're performing a ritual, are you really firmly behind what you're saying? Or are you just reciting a bunch of gibberish and babble stuff because it's gloomy and ritualistic? But are you a manifestation of the words that you're invoking? You must become what it is you're invoking. And I don't think people grasp that sometimes. So if you did work, you got results. That's it. Leave it there. It's done. Don't, should I have? Could I have? What do you think? I'm not sure if I did this right. You think I should have did this? No, you did what you needed to do. Because what's the confirmation of that? Quite simple, the results. Leave the shit alone. But I'm focusing on what in our mind makes us shift, that creates that doubt, that uncertainty, that second guessing, that what are we gauging it to? And then when I ask somebody, I say, well, you're saying should you did this or did you do it wrong? What are you gauging that to? What are you comparing it to? Do what? And I don't think we look at it like that, because I still think that's where subconsciously a lot of that indoctrination and programming, is still embedded there. That's kind of why I was asking that. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you want to add on the Cali thing before I open the phone lines and take some questions? We're going to go to that shortly.
Nothing so much on the Cali, but we can also speak on Anorisha. Mm-hmm. Because we can speak on. Hold on now, before you go to them phones. I don't know if y'all want to include this in there. We can speak on Yemaya. We can speak on Yemaya.
Uh-huh.
And I got into my ghetto bag. And I said Isis. I said, I work with those two as well.
All right, so let's talk about Yemaya. Let's talk about how do you use the Orishi Yemaya as a left-hand path practitioner, removing all the traditional bullshit, not using it from a traditional Ifa/Santeria perspective, right? So how do you work with Yemaya, and what kind of work have you done and for what purpose? So, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to say this here, and this is my disclaimer. Since I don't work, you know what? I don't think I do anything from anybody's tradition, honestly, because I don't have no tradition. right?
No, I know that, but
I'm non-traditional, so I don't
right.
really work with it.
I'm saying
Everything I do,
listening.
everything I do now, everything I do from the. No, I'm not going to say everything I do. Let me back up because that'd be lying. On the majority of things I do, no. Let me. Oh my gosh, let me clear it up. Things that I do for myself, I come up with that shit for myself. I hope everyone understands that. I don't lean to no other standing but my own when I'm doing work for myself. Group stuff is group stuff. Now I may ask questions as I stated before if I'm not clear on something. I can ask Brother Beniti, I can ask some other folks, you know what I mean, to get a better understanding when I'm getting ready to work with something to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly or that I'm correlating things correctly. Okay.
Right.
But the majority of what I do from my own understanding. Okay. And people need to do that more often too, instead of trying to do stuff what everybody else do from your own understanding, then you have more power. But the
Right.
things I do with Yemaya are really for personal self-growth. And to keep myself even because I got Ogun in the house.
Oh shit. O to the G to the U to the N. Let me stop. Okay. So like, all right. So give us an example, briefly, of some ritualistic work that you carried out to do that. Like what? Like what'd you do? Candle magic.
It'll be candle magic because I love candle magic. I love lighting candles. I love fucking with my herbs. Um, I love doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll be candle magic, and it just be my own shit. Light a candle, state my intent, the reason as to why, and let it go. Um, and that's a skill within itself. And I can understand why people question a lot when things don't happen right away. Because I'm a Virgo, so I naturally inclined to overanalyze everything. I'm constantly thinking about things.
Right.
So, and I have self-sabotage myself with that, but then that's self-growth and learning. But that's what I use Jimmy Yah for because that's a different approach. Working with that kind of Ogun energy, that's a whole fucking different approach that you have to take. And
Correct.
then when I just started to utilize that energy to deal with that type of energy, Ogun energy, the results change. Immediately, the results change. My
Right.
Ogun in my house kind of calmed down, and then we on terms.
I got you. Okay. So good. Just wanted to be clear with an example. And then
Yeah,
what do
we can be clear in the example. We can be clear in the example too with Offset, uh, ISIS, whatever floats your boat, right? Is that I tend to naturally, I don't know, naturally utilize that. Like if I'm, for me, myself, I can only speak for myself. When I'm feeling away, if I'm feeling sick, ill, I naturally go to that energy. I just go to that and do work with her, and I do a lot of healing work with her, with that, yeah, for
okay?
self healing, whatever that is, whatever that could be, yeah.
I got you. All right. Cool. All right. So anything else you wanted to ask or add? I'm sorry before I go to the phones and stuff.
Do what you want to do.
All
We
right.
can keep talking.
Well, we'll keep talking until somebody calls in, but I just want to let. All right, so we're going to open up for questions. If you want to call in, there's the number there, 561-962-1137. If you would like to come live into the chat room, just type it in at the bottom, and I will send you the link to your email, and we could get it popping and jopping and slopping and got none of that.
I just want to say too, until somebody called in to the people them, right?
I just
That
want to say that everybody needs Jesus in their life.
they need baby Jesus, not big Jesus. They need the baby. Okay.
Well, go
They
ahead.
need baby Jesus. Is that I know we've said it before, and I know we're talking about certain female or feminine type What was that?
I'm sorry, it was me stretching my back.
Oh
I
my
apologize.
God. Old people. But my God, if it take all that to scratch, my God.
All right.
Okay, my gosh.
To the
So,
pro.
but is that when it comes to working with any energy, because I work with Set as well. I know we're just talking about females tonight, and Ogun, because anyways, but don't be afraid to a do research on it.
Right.
Find out as much as you can find out about it. And once you have that knowledge base, that makes you more comfortable when it comes to doing whatever ritualistic work you want to do with that particular energy. You have a better understanding of it so that it doesn't go sideways, your life doesn't go sideways, and you get the results that you would like to get. But go but but let it be from still your own understanding. You can do the research, you can listen to the YouTubes, read the books, ask the questions, but ultimately it's still going to have to be from your own understanding. You can't do anything for any other understanding but your own.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. All right.
Yeah.
Again, 561-962-1137 if you want to call in. If you want to come in live, just type in the chat and I'll send you the link. All right. So kind of what until we get somebody who wants to call in or come in and ask a question. What I'm again the objective, and I'm glad you're again sharing these different things because again, one thing that me is important is to break a lot of these stereotypes, especially with because again, it's always, especially with Kali, it's the same old redundant shit, oh yeah, Kali's so sexual, this and that. And again, that part
And yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it's more power, it's more raw power, it's just more power. It gives you more um it gives you more to make it through your fucking day. You know what I mean? It gives you that strength to do whatever the hell it is that you need to do. That's
Hold on, I think we
I
got a
don't know.
call here. I think we got a caller here. Let me see if I could plug him in. Hold on. Oh, what happened here? What I do here? Hold on. What the heck? Hold on 1 second. If that caller that just called can call back, I didn't have the phone line up. It is up now. So if you would like to call back, that was my fault. I apologize for that. I do have it up now. So feel free, whoever that was, and you want to call back, feel free to call back. I saw it coming through, but it wasn't turned up. It wasn't on. So I have turned on the phone lines on now. Probably should have did that before I put the number in there, right? That probably would have been a smart thing to do. So whoever that call was, feel free to call back, please. That was my fault. My bad. But go ahead, finish what you're saying until we get that call back.
I don't know. Kind of threw me off. I don't know what the hell I was saying. But then I went to doing some other shit because that's what I do. Multitask over here. People got shit to do. Multitask.
No,
Make
we were just
time.
talking.
Make good use of your time.
Okay, that was Manny. That was you. That's what I just said. If hold on, let me send you the link. That's what I just said. If whoever that was calling to call back because I didn't have the phone lines up. But let me send you the right link. Hold on. All right, I just sent you the link, Mandy. So if you want to click it and come in. No, we were talking about just some of the stereotypes. That's
Oh
kind of
yeah. That's right. Like about Kali.
you
Yeah.
elaborating on
She,
that for a minute.
yeah, she brings stuff up to the surface. Um for you to deal with your shit. Okay. So you'll know when you're working with something and something is working with you because it's going to make you face yourself. I haven't dealt with any energy that bring something to the surface and make you work on yourself. Um, and that's how I almost feel about this way of life. I don't want to say the left hand path, and we're not passing no duchy, you know. This walk, it makes you correct shit within yourself. You think you're just gonna just constantly, it's just constantly money magic. You're just gonna constantly, it's just money.
Right.
It's just constantly sex, which works my nerves. That just really, that's my pet peeve. I need women to be more confident in themselves. Like really, as Benita was saying earlier, and that's what he was trying to get y'all to understand, I believe, from what I heard, is that you're more powerful than what you think you are, and stop kowtowing down to this patriarchal system, walk in your power.
Right. And that's key. It's key for many reasons because it's one of the key explanations why people ain't getting the results. They don't get the results consistently because subconsciously they create, like you were talking about earlier about self-confidence, they're creating that block subconsciously with that lack of confidence. So that's why I was kind of sharing it. All right, but let's shift now since, while we're waiting. Hold on. Hey, what's going on, Mandy?
Hey, y'all. What's up, my tribe?
Hey, girl.
Can you hear me?
Hey, go ahead for 1 second. I'm going to step away for 1 quick second, but you guys go ahead and chop it up. I'll be right back. You could ask your question.
I hear you.
Talk without me.
Oh, you can't hear us? Raven.
What's up?
Hey, girl. What you doing?
Hey, girl. Girl, you know what I'm doing?
Nothing. Listen, I'm over here doing paperwork. I just wanted to come in and show some love because I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for coming in and showing love.
And everything, obviously, everything that you said about Santa Muerte and Kalima and Yemaya. I didn't know you was dealing with Yemaya.
Yeah, I'm Yemaya. Yeah, that's me.
I have her right next to my bed. And the way you said how when you need almost like to self-reflect, she's definitely a good deity to go to because she's got that motherly love too.
Mm-hmm.
But on a different, it's definitely a different level. Definitely a different level.
Yeah, it's definitely a different level. But that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, they all can have that energy, but it's on this. As I said, your mother is different from my mother, but it's still motherly love, right? It's just going to be shown a little differently. That's all it is.
Right, and with Yemaya,
mother that loves you. Mm-hmm.
It's like a more personal love with her though. Like with Santa Muerte, yes, it's like a motherly love, but she's a little. Her and Kalima are very, very much alike with the way that they showed me what they can do. As far as Yemaya, it's more of an easygoing spirit, no joke. However, just easygoing. Like she's definitely straight to the point, but compassionate is that like the kind of energy that I'm kind of trying to tap into, like look for. It's more definitely an energy that you want to like look at and wake up to, like look at before you go to bed and wake up to. That's what I have her on the side of my bed. I love it. And then for the first time I actually did a divination with her too, because I had her downstairs down here in the office, and then when I brought her upstairs and I cleaned her off, I used rosemary, sea salt, Florida water, rainwater that I collected from the outside, and I washed her off. I think I used some more stuff, but I don't remember. I put her on the little nightstand that I got her a candle with an anchor on it, some seashells that I got from Fort Lauderdale when I was down there. That was exciting taking them out. and then some driftwood. And when I emptied out, because she had from a while back, she had like a necklace around her with a shot glass, and I would put things in it for her. And I'm like, someone's telling me like she don't want this on her anymore, and I had a seagull feather hanging out of it, so I took it off for her. And once I turned the shot glass over, $2 gold, like the coin dollars, came out, and I was like, ooh, I'm about to flip these coins and have a nice little divination with her. And yo, spot on. I was like, do you like this spot? And you know, I mean, obviously I said, you know, Yemaya, the mother of the oceans and all that's within, and da 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 da. And then I flipped the coins, and heads up, tails if she ain't like it, and then indecisive if it was heads or tails. And it's a good experience. Yemaya is definitely a good.
Yeah. Also, that energy calls me, as you know, because I'm here at the beach, calls for me to go to the beach. I have my moments where I just need to be at the beach, and I would do ritualistic work there at the beach for her as well.
The last time was when me and Pop was down there. Oh my God. Every time I think about it. Ugh. Anyway, when we went down there, we had gotten into it because that's oh my God, the energy that was brought up from that ritual just tore everything upside down. But it's beautiful now how we handled it. But we got into a little thing, and I sat out on the beach looking at the full moon for like 2 hours, smoked a blunt, sat on the beach. Even Brother B I remember when you had said that, Brother B, like, it's good just to ground yourself, go out on the beach, put your feet in the sand and just sit there. And definitely that's definitely her energy. Yes.
That's it. And Dave.
What you munching on? How come you're not sure?
Then Dave, goldfish, little bag of goldfish. Then Dave, when you were sitting on the beach, then Dave walked up wearing a thong and shit, right? And
he better not have. I would have punched him. We was like, oh my God.
He was all greased down with like 2 bottles of baby oil. He was just dripping in baby oil.
No, we had the kids with us, silly, remember? You know what? They probably wouldn't even be surprised if they walked in on some shit like that, though, honestly.
I could see Dave doing some shit like that.
Oh, man.
Anyway, but cool stuff. I don't know what you guys were talking about. It came in on the tail.
Just the energy of Yemaya, because I didn't know Sonia was dealing with her too. And I told her how I moved mine from the office and put her next to my bed, and I can relate how she's definitely an energy to go to when you're feeling.
All right, stay there, man. We got a call. Don't hang up. Stay right there. Call her with your name and where you calling from.
Suzette from California.
Suzette. What you
That's
got?
kind of rude. Can you kind of like stop there with the goldfish? That's freaking fucking nerves.
Yo, listen, man. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna eat my goldfish.
God, all you hear is bag and crunching and smacking.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Hey, it's as easy as just hitting that, that leave the room button. That's all.
Yeah, that's easy.
Go ahead, Suzette.
Wait, this is her class. What's going on?
Brother,
Nobody's thinking about him.
No, I just wanted to say, Raven, thank you so much for sharing your story, your experiences. And my question, I'm not sure if I missed it, but when you spoke about that realization of it was your father that was the issue that you had, how did you come to that realization? How did you know it was your dad? How did that surface for you?
Good question.
Great question. Doing the work. The short and sweet answer of it. The short and sweet answer of it is doing the work. That's how you come to the realization of it. It was actually doing ritualistic work. There was a particular ritual. What was that ritual? Was it in February?
Which one?
The one that we went to the altars, spoke our piece.
Oh yeah. I think that was February. Yeah, around February.
Yeah, it was a particular ritual that we did that brought it. Now, I always known from a child how tied in I was with my father. But until he passed, until he went on to the realm of the living, and just working through that, it took that damn near 2 years for me to realize how much of myself was entangled in with my father, how I felt about myself. And after I did that ritual at the altar, we had to say what we had to say. And it was nothing pretty, that we had to say things that we wanted to fix about ourselves. I marinated on it and I said, I need to fix this here. What can I do to fix this here within me? And when it took about a week. And I came up with the ritual that I needed to do for me. And when I did it, that's when I realized what it was. That I was, it was that being tied in to my dad.
And let me just add this, just so Suzette has a understanding, that the ritual that she's talking about, just to give a little more. The ritual was centered around when we opened the ritualistic work, and it was basically invoking an aspect of the adversary. That was just a small part of it. There was some demonic integration there to an extent, but it was simply about, the portion she's talking about when you came up to the altar. And obviously it's done in a, private setting. It's like Vegas. What happens in the altar room stays in the altar room. So we don't really discuss it in detail outside of there. But you basically had to come up and be honest with yourself and say, what are some things about yourself that you want to correct or fix? And all of the things prior to doing that kind of built up to that, or let that stuff truly emerge, so it naturally came out. And, long story short, Raven, along with others that were there, some core stuff came out. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? And I just want you to, I just want you to have an understanding of that, what she's describing. I know she's giving you, the quick version of the ritual, but I just wanted to add but that's kind of what the ritual is focused on. It was intentionally focused on bringing stuff to the surface, not only that you were aware of, but more so, that you weren't aware of. So I just wanted to throw that in there, just so we have a better understanding, and everybody, that's listening.
Because that was, Suzette, because that was affecting my.
That I was going to say that helps to get that information, because I'm here, on this path alone. So I'm in California, so I don't have access to you guys, and I don't have access to, go out to the rituals as you do. So I was just trying to get a little better understanding so I could figure things out for myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, I understand that. But I have always kind of, it was as Brother Benita was stating, if I'm being real honest with myself, it has always been leading up to that. I'm telling you, as you go through your walk, as you do work, it literally is going to come up one by one for you to pick. I believe you're the one that deal with Santissimo Morirete, correct? Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
I've never dealt with any of the Orishas or any of the
Oh, okay.
Can I say something?
Archetypes.
No, not yet. No, not yet. But what I'm saying, she know I love her.
You can do that.
Let me tell this. I know the people in the chat just think I'm mean as hell because I am.
No, and if
but
they
it's
do,
full of love, okay? But Mandy know I love her, but
that's tough love.
as you as you go through your walk, as you do work, as you work on things that you are aware of, things that you are unaware of will bubble to the surface.
Mm-hmm. And that's
it will come to your realization if you're serious about doing work on yourself. Trust me when I tell you, it's gonna bubble, and it's gonna come to the head. But we all start with doing things that we know, right? So we all start with, well, I may have some trauma in my life, or I may just keep picking the wrong dude. So what is it about me? Well, I have a bad temper, or I'm a pushover. So since I'm such a pushover, I need to work on that. So you'll start working on, I'm such a pushover. And then it'll show you something else as to why you're such a pushover. And you have to work on that. Then it's going to show you something else. And then you have to work on that. I'm just saying that to say that's how in my experience, it folds out.
Right. I mean, because the obvious, I know like the obvious things that I have to work on,
Correct.
I think everybody pretty much knows whether they're on this path or not, the obvious things or the obvious insecurities or
right
things to deal with. But I think the difficult part is when you're trying to go deeper, the things that you're unaware of.
Yes. You're 100%.
Well, yep.
Now go ahead.
So that's kind of why I was trying to get to, and Beniti answered it, how you were able to come to how you brought your dad, boom, right out, like in your face, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped. Both your responses helped.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you about the chamber room. I'll let him tell it because I'm just not gonna tell it. I'm just I just that's how I am. Certain things.
Tell it because I know that certain things don't need to be told. Just like he said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the chamber room stays in the chamber room. I got a glimpse of, like, I see the when Beniti posts like parts of the ritual, he shows the altar. I get to see that stuff, but I know you're not gonna film what is actually happening there. That's private.
Exactly, and it is. It's very private because there's internal and external things, that go on, and it's for that. You keep it there. It's supposed to be like
personal.
That.
Yeah, exactly. It's personal.
Exactly.
Yeah, very personal. Like that ritual was very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personal and it's private. I totally get that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a good question. But again,
great question.
I can't stress enough. Consistency. I know it sounds redundant. It sounds like you're beating a dead horse. The only way you get you benefit from these experiences and get the results is by doing the work. I can't stress that enough.
Okay.
All right.
Mandy had wanted to say something.
Yeah.
I'm going to be listening here in California land.
All right.
I wanted to say something to you, Susan.
Susan, hold on.
Yes. I wanted to say something to you in regards to how you asking Raven, how she realized that, it was her father and everything that she had said before, but it's obviously definitely the work that she was putting in. But as far as myself and, because you had said that you're all the way in California. Well, I'm all the way in New Jersey. And before I went down to Florida and met with them and did the rituals and stuff like that, I was already doing work. You got to find out what avenue calls to you. Obviously, this path, but it's resonating with you somehow. Like what deity do you feel like resonates with you the most when like Santa Muerte, Kali Ma, Oshun, Yemaya? I'm just curious.
Well, I would say because all the ones you named, I guess Kali Ma, because I haven't really studied or researched
that's key.
Because this is how I think I was brought to this. Not I think, this is how I know I was brought to this. I don't know how it ended up in my feed, but it did. And what resonated most for me was the fact that I'm not a religious person. I was brought up in the Catholic faith. I never felt that. I never.
Stop.
Exactly. I never gravitated towards that. You know, as I got older, because I went to Catholic school, I didn't go to church anymore. And then, you know, I meet friends, they're doing my hair. You know how the people want to invite you to the Christian churches, and I finally give in. I go there. That does nothing for me. So once
you better stop playing. You know you got the Holy Spirit. And was like,
be your own God. Control your own life. That's what I started to say that's how I am, because I dance to the beat of my own drum. So that is what pretty much gravitated that I gravitated toward. And
Well, can I say this here?
Older, and as I've gotten older and evolved, I don't care about what people think about me. I don't care what people. I don't live to make other people happy. So I do like Sekhmet. I like what she's all about. I like that
well, that same confidence. That same confidence that you have saying about yourself, you have to approach, you know, Sekhmet, or that, you know, whatever deity that resonates with you, and approach it with the same confidence by, you know, reading, you know, materials on her, and listening to Brother B, and finding different avenues to get, you know, and then just go with your intuition, like get a statue, get a picture of her and put her out. And every time you walk past it, you know, just always remember what energy she represents. And if it brings out something inside of you, you know, walk that day with that energy. Like you got to start off just following your intuition, then everything will just fall into place. And then you're just going to start belt aha moments everywhere. Like, it's just, I know I sound like I'm all over the place, but don't I always? But that's how I found Brother B. Like, I was doing research on Palo. Like, I was looking for Palo, and I found, you know, I was already into Santa Muerte, and I found Brother B, and it just took off from there. So, because what you had mentioned, how you can't come out and do a ritual with them, but that doesn't mean that you can't get their energy and their knowledge, and, you know, how we're talking right now. This is basically what we do down in Florida. You know, except, you know, obviously we have the ritual, but you could do that yourself, you know, and the more you do it, the more you're going to get those aha moments and be, oh my God, like, this is working. This is, and then you'll start looking at things like, I know where that came from. And the confidence is insane, but you have to take that first step. I remember the last time you were on, you were saying how, you know, what's the word? I was not lazy, but you just procrastinating. Right. And I was like, yo, I commend you for that, because I was procrastinating a lot. Still do every once in a while. But we're human, you know, but once you start getting those aha moments and seeing things change in your life and knowing where that's coming from, obviously from you, but because you tapped into the energy of, let's say, Sekhmet, it's going to make you want to continue doing it and learn more. And just that drive that you got continuously watching these channels, the videos that Brother B does, it's going to skyrocket. It's no limits. But like Brother B said, you got to put in that work.
There you go.
You do the research.
Yeah. All right, Mandy.
I hope that helps.
All right, Suzette, appreciate the call.
All right, everybody, take care.
All right.
Bye.
All right. If anybody else would like to call in, we're going to stay on for a little bit longer. Trying not to stay on too long on Thursdays, but we'll stay on as long as we flowing. So somebody wants to call in, phone lines open, 561-962-1137.
Did you see that comment that somebody put up at the top of the page in the beginning?
No,
hold on. Let me scroll up.
What comment?
Hold on. It's about Santa Muerte. Hold on.
Oh, I forgot. I need to go through the chat. Let's go through some questions on the chat.
It's from Sleepy Me. I have romantic feelings towards La Santísima Muerte. Is this disrespectful?
I couldn't. That's personal. I couldn't tell you in what way. I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said it was. I don't know what your experiences were leading up to that gave you that feeling. So that, I mean,
They want to jump her bones.
they what?
I said they want to jump her bones. I said they want to jump her bones.
That's not. I get it. She's skeleton.
I'm just having fun. That was a joke. I couldn't pass that one up.
Anyway, let's do this. Since we're coming, you know, I'm not saying you guys are crackheads, but you're a little crack-ish. You know what? In this whole process, I totally forgot about the chat room. I'm thinking about phone. While we're waiting, I totally forgot.
That's what happens when you eat goldfish.
Yeah, that's exactly. You talk about getting old and shit. All right, I'm going to scroll up to the top. Let's go through the chat room now that we don't have anybody on the phone and nobody's coming in at the time. Greetings to everybody. We'll skip all that stuff. This way I don't have to individually greet everybody. Peace and greetings to all the gods and the goddesses. That's going to be my new way to greet you guys.
Peace.
Right.
Peace, all gods. Peace.
Gods and the goddesses. All right. I'm scrolling down looking for questions. I am going to skip personal conversation. I'm going to skip that stuff. Let's see what we got here. Still just seeing comments, looking for questions. Yeah, I see that comment now. Again, when we talk about morals, it's, it can come off as.
Listen, the chocolate with the toes, it's a little along those lines.
Yeah,
each its own, maybe.
But I'm saying we can't be
judged with that energy.
We don't know what that person's experience is. What now? To some people, in certain circles, a comment like that would come off respectful to your traditionalists. But that's not what this path is about. The question would be, we don't have a thorough understanding of what.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so we'd be hypocrites if we try to break that down. So I'm not even going to touch that. All right. What else we got? Let me see. I just see a lot of comments. All right. Okay.
It's okay. Good night.
I don't even understand that shit, so I'm going to skip that. I don't even know what the fuck. That shit didn't even make no damn sense. I ain't going to say what it was. It was just stupid. I'm not really seeing no questions, people. You guys are basically just.
Phil had wrote something to you, said, thanks for the advice. Didn't want to believe it, but some of my ancestors.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that was from what we talked about the other Tuesday. No doubt. I'm just glad that you're working through it. What else do we got here? I'm really seeing that, man. Just people sending their thanks. Great show. Appreciate what you're saying, Raven. I don't know if you're watching.
Whatever.
Hey, we love you.
Fucking bug you got up your ass. Mandy, where's Dave at?
He just left the master plumber meeting in Philly.
Yeah, that's what he told you. You heard when he called you. You heard. Right? You heard. No, let's the stage, baby. No, stop.
Whatever.
All right. If we don't have any questions in the chat room, I want to say to everybody, thank you for coming to hear me ramble about some shit. All I got to do is talk about is my Santita Monolete, my holy there, because I love her. Soaps. She loved me. Huh?
Talk about your soaps and your oils. Look.
What the fuck? What the hell happened?
Oh.
Huh?
You've been making soaps and your oils and stuff like that. They can find you on Instagram.
I'm not quiet.
She got that fire coming up. Fire.
Got the what?
Fire. That's fire.
Let go.
Oh,
what?
Your Instagram, Raven. Your soaps and stuff.
She working on some stuff. She about to drop it. She trying to get it. She's keeping it in the bag. She about to drop it soon.
I know people, they see it. They see it. So how you feel about that money oil? Can you express how you feel about that money oil?
Well, I can tell you, I use this shit personally. That shit worked like a motherfucker.
It's wrong. What's that? The ritual that I think it was in the first session, or no, it had to be the second session, Brother B, of class, and you had said to use the oil to, like, I guess, seal the deal, kind of, sort of, or maybe it was a talk we were having or something that I was doing, and you had said to use a strong oil, and that's the one that I told you that I was going to use. You were like, yeah, that's potent stuff. So I used, it's awesome.
Let me say this, because I know she's going to be too modest and not talk about it. It's just the way she is. You guys have seen stuff she's probably working on her Instagram. She's brought stuff to events, and I know some people in here have gotten stuff from her, such as Mandy. She's got a whole line of products that she makes herself. Okay. This is not, she gets them from a wholesaler and she just sells them, which a lot of people do. Literally like a chemist in the lab. And 90% of the times when she's on and she's muted, that's her in the background working on that stuff constantly. So I'm gonna plug it out there. She's gonna have the whole, it's together. You've probably seen the links. She's got a page and everything. And you guys should inquire, support, and check out the products. I mean, when I say she literally makes them from scratch, she buys the materials, and like a scientist is like fucking mixing
asking everything,
like Frankenstein and shit. Soaps, and I'm not just saying this because I know I've actually used some of them. I did a money ritual with the money oil, and it's fire. You know, obviously you got to put your power and intent behind it. Don't come and be like, oh, I'm completely fucking stupid and I don't have no power, but I'm just going to rub this oil on a candle. No, it's not. Of course, you got to do your due diligence and your work. But even when some people have come for events here, they purchase stuff from her. So again, soaps, different types of oils, skin lotions, but a lot of stuff you can use ritualistically and the stuff we do. And again, the unique thing about it is it's only something you can get from her because it's from scratch. Just
Brother Jack, he says you got my support.
Okay. Okay, so now that he said that, and you guys have put me out there on notice,
Jack,
I'm gonna now. Jack, I got to say some stuff.
Jack, I'm about
to bring Jack in. I have to say some things about this here, and this just lends towards our topic of this evening. You know, I got there by doing the work. I got there by realizing where my strengths lie, right? And this is what we're talking about. Well, part of what we're discussing tonight. That's how I got there. But the things that I do, it's nothing fake. It's the reason why they work so well. The reason why they work well, because it's all natural. You ain't getting no fake fucking food coloring in there. If it's colored, it's colored because that's what it is. It's 100% essential oils. There's no fragrance in none of the shit I do. You can, if you want fragrance, you can take your ass to somewhere. I don't do fragrance. Okay. The reason why I don't do it is because I want you to get the most out of whatever the fuck it is you're doing. Whether it's a money ritual, you washing your tail with the soaps. I want it to be the best that you can get out of it. The scents are they're scented a certain way for a reason. So to say this, you ain't gonna get no donut smell over here because that's artificial. There's nothing natural that smells like a fucking donut. In the soap. But I'm just saying that to say that the scents that I put together are put together for a reason. Because we know what scents do. We understand the correlation between scents and color. So that's the kind of the premise behind, you know, what I do. But the oils and all of that things, my chakra oil, is a bomb as well. My chakra baths are a bomb as well. Not because I say so, but because I say so. But the feedback that I have received says so. Okay.
Results.
Okay. And
And lots of information. You put a lot of information up on your Instagram page, Raven.
Yo, guess who popped in the room?
But a joke.
Jizzle.
my brother.
What up? What up? Said she got the
What
soap.
up?
She said, I'm gonna get that aura so clean. It's gonna be popping. People gonna be throwing money at you. Throwing money at you.
That's
People
it.
coming to you.
Hey,
You know
Dad.
what? What's up, family? How y'all doing?
How are ya? Good to see
Doing
you.
well, doing well. Yo. You know what, man? I like about when it comes to like soaps and stuff is like or baths is like, yo, stuff is no joke, man. If you get like the right, it's all about cleaning your aura, right? Your aura attracts everything. So it's like you doing the type of work you're doing and you put all that energy into it and that intent into it, right? And you offering that to people, you know, I'm sure people can really benefit from it. So I'm definitely gonna hit up your page and I'm gonna cop some stuff and I'm gonna support, you know, everybody support the sister here because you know, if it comes from the heart, anything somebody does that comes from the heart,
Yeah.
you know it's 100. So you know it's just official. You know what I mean?
Jack,
So that's what it is.
let me know.
She be having a hazmat suit on when she be making them soaps. Yo.
Jack, did you
Like
watch?
Breaking Bad and shit.
Did you watch the whole video, Jack? That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, yo, that shit had me dying, bro. She was funny as hell.
Yo, that shit had me in tears, man. Anyway, but no, good stuff. Check it out. I know she don't like to talk about it a lot, just the way she is. I don't know why. You know, I've been meaning to take my sneaker and just backslap her ass, but you know that may not work. But
okay, it's Raven Heka, ravenheka.com. If you want to email me, it's ravenheka@gmail.com. So it's ravenheka.com, ravenheka@gmail.com. The site is still building. I still have to take pictures, and you know this is a mom and pop shop, so just bear with me. I do
right, though.
also special orders because everyone has different needs. But I got you.
No, that's it.
So, and I'm serious about it. And I do love it. That's why I do it. Couldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Why?
So.
I don't know why I heard like the Soul Glow music right now while you're promoting your business.
You know what? I
see the commercial and everything. You know what I mean? I'm like, why's that in my brain right now?
And I am gonna make your.
That's real talk. If that popped in my head, I mean that's the truth. It's gonna make your soul glow. That's
Soul Glow.
Wow.
Okay.
Classic. And we can watch that movie 100 times and never gets old. Matter of fact, it was on the other night, and guess what part I happened to click? Right when I turned on the channel, guess who's on stage? Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate.
He's singing for the children, talking about sexual chocolate. That shit is funny as hell, bro.
I was cracking up. He said, "That boy got talent. You sit there clapping. That boy got talent."
Now we can only get our brother B to write a book.
Oh snap! You write a book?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's maybe one of these days. It's a thought. I know. We discussed that Saturday.
He's gonna make a comic book. It's gonna call it Light Skin Chronicles.
And midget strippers.
Yeah.
Volume 1 of 78.
No.
But no. But like I say, I mean, we got a lot of people in here. I know also if they're in here, I believe Duma's in here, Bafamarga. I don't know if there's anybody else in here. I know they make jewelry and products, and we got to get familiar.
I just
with
got
that.
2 pieces from Bafa. I got pieces.
You know what?
Yeah,
Bafa. Okay, wait a second.
Bafa is serious. Oh my God, her work is amazing.
Mandy. Okay. Let me say this here too as well. Duma, Bafa, I'll be reaching out to you guys because let me explain this here how this here go. And this lends to my personality to why I don't really anyways. But we all gonna eat. Okay. I don't know if anybody has ever been to my website. I have an affiliates page. So that's what I do. We all gonna eat. I'm not self. That's just not me. I'm gonna get what's coming for me, and if I can help someone else get something that's coming in, that's what I'll do. That's just my personality, and I'm not gonna steer away from it. But just to let you guys know, I'll reach out to you guys to have personal conversations, and we'll talk about that affiliates page. But that page is there for a reason. So
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for sure.
and we gotta, you know, like I said, we gotta make
Nothing better
that
than
known.
word of mouth.
Yeah, please make it, because I think y'all didn't let me know, because I didn't know Bafo was doing something. Like, I didn't know this.
Oh my
Maybe
God, her work is amazing.
Yo, Jack, she can
I
make.
didn't know Dumo was doing stuff too.
Yo, she can make you a nice midget stripper, like 6 inches.
Hold
Oh
on.
yeah,
No,
I need a
there's
picture
a
of Mickey
piece
Mouse,
that you
man.
see me. There's a piece I wear sometimes, the 5% piece. That's Baffa's work. She hooked that
Damn,
up.
for real?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's her
snap.
work. I put that out there a few times, and then
Dang.
also there is, she's showcasing one of Baffa's pieces right there. There you go.
I
That's
just
hype.
bought. I sent her the stuff and she put it together.
Yeah.
I was like, just throw down. It's the
But
scarab
look at
beetle,
it, but
tiger's eye.
hold on, Manny. Put that to the screen so people can see it. There you go. Hold on. We got a
You said
call.
Dumo do stuff too?
Yes.
This might be her calling in. Hold on. Call, which name? Where you calling from?
What's up, brother?
nice.
What up? Who's this?
And then this one.
It's Ahmed.
Ahmed.
Ahmed Fatou.
Ahmed Mohammed.
Nice.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Let me stop. But go ahead, brother. What you got for us, man?
I got a question. Y'all have way too much fun.
Yeah, tonight we're just chilling tonight.
I'm asking the question for somebody who's listening, but I guess they too scared to ask.
No, that's all right. Ain't nothing to be scared of. We're all cool people here.
The question is, how do you, I mean, let me figure out how to ask the question in my way. They wanted to know how to connect with a deity if they're not sure which deity, I don't want to say it's on their head or which deity walks with them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you choose a deity, or how do you pick a deity, or how does the deity pick you? Or
all right. Well, let me say this, because there's a lot of questions within that question. One, you know, I heard you mention something about the head. That's more of a Ifa tradition. It just depends on what perspective you're coming from. Now, as far as I think the best place to start would be, how do you start or choose what deity to work with? I always push people in this direction. Analyze what you got going on in your life. That's the best place to start. So what do I mean by that real quick? Let's say you're an individual, that's dealing, with a lot of personal issues. It could be, lack of patience. It could be something like Raven was talking about earlier, lack of self-confidence. Maybe you're insecure. Maybe if you're a female, maybe you got a history of bad relationship issues, etc. Usually a good place to start when you're on this path is always to work with some of the road clearing deities that we mentioned earlier. Kali, all what we were talking about earlier, Sekhmet, any of those type of archetypes. I think step one is always getting yourself right. Because let me give you an example. Sometimes we tend to gravitate towards shit we like, and I say this all the time, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily what we need. So we get that twisted sometimes. Just because you like something don't mean that's what you're in the need of at the moment. So you might jump into something. Let's just say, for an example, you start, you're invoking Azazel or Melek Talus, the peacock angel, but you haven't dealt with your personal issues and your personal traumas and stuff that's suppressed. That wouldn't be a good thing to do, because that could create a lot of friction or tension or intensity that you're not prepared for. So I'm saying this, if they're asking that question from the perspective, like just a starting point, where do I begin? And they're more so new on the path, I would start with archetypes like that. If you want to start with real safer archetypes, like Tahuti's good, because he deals with increasing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your intellect. And obviously that's what that's the main goal, what we seek on this path, is knowledge of self. So that's a good archetype to begin with, because he increases your intellect, your knowledge, your wisdom. If you're looking for, let's say, healing, like say maybe you got a lot of physical issues, healing, you can go Khonsu in ancient Egypt. He's one of the master healers. Just giving you an example, but I would always gauge it, because since our lives are constantly changing and we go through different things, because you might be in a state today, but 3 weeks from now, that all can change for the better or the worse. You understand what I'm saying? So my advice would be analyze what you got going on in your life. And that's the direction. You should use that as the guide to determine what you should be working with, because you need to work with energy that's going to bring about change for the better. I mean, what good is it if you're just randomly working with shit because you like it? Yeah, that's it. I'm not saying you might get some level of results. I'm not saying you won't. But you got to be careful, because you could be activating portions of your psyche that could create conflict. That's what we mean when we say sound mind, sound body. So it's always step one on this path. Do a self-inventory or a self-check about your life, right? Start with what we call shadow work, right? And shadow work is about uncovering them things about yourself that could be impacting you that you're not aware of. And I don't know if you were on earlier, or the person that's asking the question was listening earlier. We suppress those things, and it could be stuff, from a very young, early age. Like it could have been as simple as an argument you had with a sibling, a sister, a mother, a brother, or a father, and they might have said some hurtful words to you in that experience. And even though you thought you were over it, but subconsciously the impact of it got so embedded in your subconscious, and you just didn't realize how it was fucking you up. It could be stuff like that. I always use the reference in dealing with clients over the year, people that were bullied as kids. I find this a huge thing that creates insecurity and lack of confidence in the adult years later. It could be something like that. It could be, insecurities from you constantly in relationships where you give yourself to somebody 100%, you get walked on all the time because there's something about you that you're admitting that weakness. So there's energies and deities you can work with that address all that, but it's always good to start there, because it's not just about jumping into some shit and, I'm going to do a few invocations, some mantras because I like this deity, but that can make things worse if you don't know what you're doing. So I would start there. Do that self-check, really, do that, analyze your life, take that personal inventory of yourself, and that should put you in the right direction. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually answered the question that I wanted to ask for myself.
Damn, bro.
To a certain extent. I'm sorry. Y'all just having too much fun, so I figured ain't nobody else calling. I might as well. I was actually at work, and I was trying to hurry up and get off work so I could call.
Yo, but check out Jack's website if you're looking for a full lingerie for midget booty strippers. Just go to under3foot6.com, and he's got
Under 3'6".
Got everything on there, man, for all the midget stripping accessories that you. Now we stop.
Yeah, they don't take bills. They take quarters, dog. They don't take quarters.
No, but Ahmed, that's actually the question that person. That's a very good question. It's not. There's nothing to be, shy about or not.
That's what I told her.
Yeah. It's a good question because it shows the intent of the person that they really want, to, the guidance to do something for themselves. So, that's a really good question because some people.
And that's what we're talking about too.
Right. Exactly. So it's a good.
My question.
Yeah.
My question.
Mm-hmm.
As far as how do you, I don't want to say put down a deity and work, but how do you know when you should put one deity to the side and work and start working with another? Or does it just come to you and you just know, or like you said, just take an inventory and figure things out?
Well, hold on. Before you do that, I got to shout out my girl, Latoya. Latoya just popped in. That's our girl from the classes. Everybody know Latoya. She's at work, but she just popped in. So just shouting you out since you shouted us out. But that's a good question. I think a lot of it Raven was touching on earlier. Again, I think a lot of that comes from the consistency. Doing the work creates that awareness. Like you said, how do I you always hear, I've talked a lot about over the years in the videos of like, let me give you an example. You might be in 2-3 weeks, your vibe and your energy and your intuition is saying, I'm gonna work with Cali, right? Then you work with it, it fulfills the purpose. So that area of your life has been corrected. And then you'll naturally transition into your next phase of work. That comes, like you said, I know you use the term like working with one and then putting one down, switching to another. It's just a natural thing. There's no real explanation for it. It's just a natural inclination you get because you're connected to the energy, the frequency, and the work. And that's part of activating what we call demonic integration or your personal daemon, your higher self. So what starts to happen is your higher self starts to communicate with you. All right, you're done with this now. You just know it's a feeling. You sense it. You did what you were supposed to. Now, don't mean you, of course, at some point you're going to come back and say, where's Kali? Yeah, you might put Kali down and then 6 months later, 3 months later, 2 weeks, but whatever, you might come back to it for a reason that there's something within that tells you. Like Raven, remember you were talking about earlier how like you just got up this morning, didn't really have anything planned with Kali, but something popped in your head and you got the intuition to carry something out.
Yeah, the work, because in the mornings it's normally, you know, before I leave out here is the Holy Death. It's with Santissima Moretti. It was Kali. Nowhere on my brain was there to do anything with that energy.
So it's just that inner awareness, and that's a really good question. And that's what I mean when I say we got to start. The inner awareness creates those spiritual experiences.
Can I add something, Brother B?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get punished for it either, because some people are so indoctrinated that they're afraid to break free from certain things, to tap into other things and follow their intuition. If your intuition is telling you to do it, do it. Do it. That's your path.
Just get up every day in the morning, brother, with your finger like this. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Stop fucking with you.
I don't know what any of that means.
That's Arabic.
There he is.
Arabic, I know it's Arabic.
No, but Akpan, that's a good question. And that's something that just comes naturally over time via the consistency of your work. It's that simple. It's not something, I mean, it's a great question, but it's not something where other systems have this format and this structure. Here's the manual, here's the book.
Right.
That's what's so unique about this path. Yeah, there's information out there, there's books, there's material to study, but all true left-hand path material is just about pushing you in the right direction. But the finality of it is you got to make, like we say, order out of the chaos. That's what makes you a god or a goddess. There's nothing external doing it. So I just think with consistency, time, and experience, it just comes naturally. Like, look, let me get into, I might be sitting here on the couch right now. Video goes off, and I think I'm just going to lay back and parlay. And then all of a sudden, something pops in my head to go to my altar and do something. It wasn't planned, like Raven said with her example this morning. Didn't have it on my mind. Had no intention to set out to do it for whatsoever. But what happens is, and a lot of that comes from doing core demonic integration work. What happens is you really start to connect with what we call the higher self. And that's when the higher self or the personal daemon kicks in. Because remember, when we're talking about all these archetypes, deities, spirits, etc., they are just fragments of that personal daemon. They are just different branches or pieces of it that manifest, that we connect with in individual aspects. That's it. It's all really the same thing, but it manifests in various different forms over the years, obviously through these different systems. It could be Ifa, it could be, the Kemetic system, it could be working with demonology. All that is, in essence, is an aspect of your higher self, your personal daemon. I did a video, I don't know if you've seen it, but maybe go back and watch it. It's called Fragments of Your Personal Daemon. And I kind of was trying to explain some of the stuff that we're talking about now, but I'm just using that again as a reference point or an example. That's the best way I guess I could describe it.
Right, I watched it because I actually got the Black Ship book, and I've actually created my own little ritual to bringing my Damien out.
Good.
But it's like, because I work with Yemaya, and she's done
beautiful
things for me. as far as my line of work that I do. I don't want to sound crazy, but as far as the motherhood aspect, because I'm around children a lot.
I got you.
But I've been getting the urge to move to something else, and that's why I was like, should I?
No. Definitely. It doesn't mean you're not going to go. See, it's kind of like what Mandy was saying a minute ago. Don't feel, because that's not how these energies work. Don't feel like something like you're going to be punished or it's wrong. You're feeling like that because you probably worked with it so long and consistency, and there's like a loyalty thing at some portions, you know.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah. So no, it doesn't mean just because you might switch gears to something else for a little bit, it don't mean you ain't going to go back to it. It just means that could also be Yemaya instilling that change too. Look at it that way.
And
that
also don't mix the energies together. Like if one deity is calling to you and you go out and you buy the statue or a picture or whatever, certain ones don't mesh. I mean, definitely break free and do what you got to do, but don't. Can you speak on that, Brother B? Because it's true. The energy sometimes can go.
Like Akpan, that little leprechaun deity you got in your altar. You don't want to like mix that. No, let me stop. No. But yeah, that's a good point. Know what you're working with, of course. Most definitely educate yourself on what you're working with, especially if you're setting up altars. She's right. But I would also look at what you're saying. That could be Yemaya creating that feeling that you need to switch gears to something else. So don't always, it's never what it seems on the surface sometimes. So don't look at it in any light because, when you, and I'm not saying, I'm just putting this out there in general. I'm not saying that you're looking at it kind of from a religious perspective with the loyalty thing. Sure. I'm not saying that's what you mean, but I think it's more because you've worked with it for a consistent amount of time, and that's what creates the feeling. But like Mandy was saying a minute ago, you're not going to be punished or ostracized. It's not some God in heaven that's keeping score and like, oh, that's one against Akpan. That's not how it works. It's you're the God. Remember, you control the deities and the archetypes. They don't control you because you're accessing the energy for change. When you start to take on the mindset like they're in control, subliminally you're back to a monotheistic mindset, whether you're conscious of it or not. So I would look at it, more than likely from the consistent work you've done with Yemaya, it's brought about the growth and the change, and where your intuition is leading you, go to it, and you will come back to Yemaya. Trust me, because that's part of your core work that you do. So that's never going to disappear, And what I like to do is this: if I work with specific archetypes consistently, let me give an example. Like, let's say you have something, you work with Yemaya, you got something with Yemaya, you go switch gears in another altar. What I do to stay consistent with that energy, if it's a core energy that I've been working with for a while, it's just as simple as saying a simple invocation every day, even if it's a minute or two, just to keep that energy intact. You understand? And it gives you that flexibility to go and branch into other workings. So I would approach it like that. If that's the way you feel, if you're going to stay off the in-depth Yemaya ritualistic work, it could be just as simple as saying a brief invocation on a daily basis for a quick minute. And it keeps that link.
I have a little ritual I do every morning before I go to work. It's just
there you go.
Really with some incense and just, I guess it's an invocation. I just talk to my altar and I wave my incense in a
and then you take some pickle juice and you sprinkle it around the altar, right? No, stop. Start clowning.
Sounds good.
No, but there you go. That's a perfect example. See, I didn't even know you did that. So in essence, whether you're doing something, to the point, a little bit more detailed or not, the link and the connection is still there. That's all that matters. So yeah, by all means, don't overstress yourself out about it. You know what I mean? Okay. Do what you got to do, brother.
My last question, because I'm not in the chat because I'm actually on my phone. Could Bafa Marga put her information, because I'm in her area and
I saw that.
Some other people that would like to get some of her items, and if she could put, because I heard Ravens and I heard Jax. What did you say? 3'9"?
Yeah, like under 3'6" He's got midget whips on there. He's got
Bafa put her information in the chat.
Yeah, Bafa, I see her there. I think it's bafamarga999@gmail.com if I'm not mistaken. Okay, but put it in again. Yeah, put it in again.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me say something real quick. Often when we tend to go from that like that mother, they say the motherly side is some people say it can be fierce, but it also can be soft, whatever. But what I'm sensing is like it's like a calling for you to break away from that and go into that warrior side of like yourself, right? I think the problem with that is that sometimes we deal with a certain type of energy, and you go to something that's more fierce, more aggressive. It kind of like, hold on, is this shit right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it takes time to like kind of like tap into that, but 99% of this path is going to be your intuition. Like a great quote is intuition is one of the greatest tools in your toolbox, right? So you understand, like, majority of this is all intuition. I think sometimes when you start tapping into that fierceness or that aggression energy, it kind of like, whoa, is this right? You know what I mean? But I personally think it's important to just delve yourself into it, and just to kind of like face your fear, because sometimes we tend to hold ourselves back. I noticed myself the more growth I've gained was through kind of like just letting go and say fuck it, man. And it's like, and that's when I once I were able to tap into that energy, and it was more aggressive, but this the insight, the things I've learned that kind of was downloaded to me after the experience.
Yep.
It made me move different. It made me see people different. You know what I mean?
You definitely
move more with purpose. So
yeah,
that's what I'm sensing for you. I'm sensing more of a like you're gonna tap into more of that aggressive side of yourself that you didn't know was there, but that needs to be brought out. So I think that's where you're going next, man.
Hey Jack, should we give him the ritual to tap into the warrior energy? Should I give it to him? All right. So here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you're gonna do. As soon as you hang up the phone, you're gonna get a straw tribal skirt. That's all you're gonna have on. No shoes. You're gonna get a sword and a shield. And I want you to run up and down the block.
Don't listen to that bullshit, man.
Don't forget about the soul glow.
Your ass is gonna be on fucking. We don't know what happened. And some black guy was running around here acting crazy. We had to shoot him down, knock him down.
Yeah, that guy next door went crazy with that African stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. He like Zulu Nation or something. I don't know.
I'm telling you, man.
For real.
That's how you tap in. No, but good point. It's a good point by Jack. You can't overthink the shit. And like Jack said, man.
Well, how do you go from that to just being so serious?
Because there's a crazy spirit I'm dealing with right now. It's one of them nights. I'm dealing with a funky ass spirit right now. I don't know what it is.
It's a good vibe tonight, man.
It's that
the vibe is good tonight. Yeah. He had some Lucky Charms before he started the show and shit.
No, yeah, fishy.
Yeah.
But I like
the goldfish and shit.
Because actually, I'm feeling the urge to work with segment, and that's
there you go.
Talking about the warrior, things like that. So that, but I remember telling you about the ritual that I did when I was in Florida a month ago with the whole seahorse thing, and the seahorse floated up to me, and then I looked up seahorse and I found out that the male seahorse is the one that gives birth to the children. Actually,
that's correct.
The male seahorse.
That's correct.
The female gives the male the eggs, and the male hatches it and gives birth to the eggs. So that really changed my whole perspective, and that actually changed the relationship that I have with the group of children that I'm around.
That's awesome, man.
But it's like, I guess now there are some other things coming up around me that I need to destroy or I need to get rid of, and I think that's why it's urging me towards segment.
Well, segment would be perfect for that, brother, because if you're going to do some destruction, reconstruction work on yourself, no better deity than that. She'll, man.
Look what he just said. Wait. Well, look what he just. Listen to what he just stated. That he does work with Yemaya. He does a lot of work, and now that he has conquered an aspect of himself. Can you stop with the motherfucking bag?
I'm sorry.
Move that bag, please. Now that he has I can't stand you. Now
you can't take niggas nowhere, man.
No, not you know what I'm saying. You just can't take them nowhere. Now that you have conquered that one aspect, another avenue has opened up to show you that there's more work to be done. And so that's just a perfect example of what was stated earlier.
Yeah, man.
Got it.
But good questions,
Well,
man.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much.
And tell your companion who's listening next time, get on the phone, ask some questions. Don't be shy. We're all cool people here, man. Ain't nothing to be scared of.
I don't know what she's afraid of. She's on the path just like I'm on the path. So, but she's on the shy path. So.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll work that out. She get around this long enough. She won't be shy no more.
I was gonna say for now.
For now, we'll let it slide.
Right.
All right, Akbar, but we appreciate it, man.
Good night. I'm shy too. Shit.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
What the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
I thought I heard him. I heard him.
He said, "Yeah, right. That you shy."
I am shy.
I'm going to bring out to the stage, Dave.
50 Shades of Discipline here.
Wakanda.
Oh God.
Wakanda.
Don't get him started.
You know they're making part 2, man. I heard they're making part 2.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I think everybody's gonna go to the movies this year and see it.
No, I'm gonna be dressed up.
You gonna have your dashiki on? You gonna have your dashiki on?
What was that?
You're gonna have a big ass djembe with like leopard skin on it?
Yep.
Yeah, man. That's what you do. You play African for 2 hours.
Over my neck.
I don't know, brother B. The thong with the oil was
yeah,
I
baby.
don't know.
Yo, can you just share with us? She was telling us, she was chilling on the beach one night, just hanging out, chilling, doing
We was down there the last time. And
then she said she looked to the right, and all she saw was the shadow. And as the shadow got closer, and the moonlight hit you, all this baby oil was just glistening all over your body. You had a thong on. I don't know, man. That's what she said, man. I'm just relaying the information, man.
Yeah, baby.
I ain't saying that was all brother B.
It wasn't me, man. She's lying. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I be abusing him.
She says, and as you walk closer, the bachata music got louder.
Bachata.
Yeah, the bachata. The bachata.
There you go. The shit just got louder and shit.
He said
got it. Brother Tiz, I'm going to send you the link right now, man. I didn't see that. I'm going to send it to you right now. Hold on. We're going to get Brother Tizer to come in real quick. All right, just sent it, brother. Feel free to come in and add to the bill. It's a little goofy up in here tonight, but
that's
anyway.
all.
Anyway.
Goldfish.
But yeah, we'll see what Tizer, what he want to add to the build.
Pop and I are 12 days vegan.
Oh shit, I'm on my 5%. Add to the bill, God. Go ahead, God. Let me stop. Go ahead, brother Tizer.
Peace. What's up, everybody?
Peace. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. So, I just wanted to add on that that whole thing with working with these energies, as a male working with Kali, like that's one of my first experiences, and and I came into this, under the impression I was one of those people that thought, all right, yeah, I'm gonna do some magic, I'm gonna make this happen, I'm gonna manifest some money, you know what I mean, and started working with Kali just off my intuition, but found out that the sheer power of it forced me to change a lot of things and actually look at myself like we're supposed to be doing, and not outwardly, trying to be this mystical magician or whatever, right. And it helped me understand that, the change starts with you, right. And as far as the motherly part of it,
real quick, Kylie will do that.
Yeah. And as far as like the motherly part of it, the women in my life growing up were those strong, real influential women. And I the way I see this energy is just like that. It's very strong and influential, and in that way it's motherly, not coddling, but motherly, like gonna kick your ass to make you do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. But something you said that struck me, which is confirmation of something we talk about constantly on the show. Like you said, you originally had set out, and you're not alone in that department. There's many that have done that. You set out with these expectations. Well, obviously they were illusionary expectations, but you didn't realize it. Everybody does that. And then, like you say, you got a whole 360 of it the other way, because that confirms when we're always using that description to say Kali brings the change, one of the many. But since we're talking about Kali here, brings the change you need, which could be very different from, the change that you want. That's what I mean when I say that. When I was talking to Raven earlier, and asking her about, Kali and, Santissima Muerte, and to share the experiences, she used the term very similar, it'll turn certain areas of your life upside down. So the key is, like you said, it made you realize it's about starting with self and getting yourself right, and changing the things about yourself you need to change. That's what I tell people you must prepare for when working with these energies. Embrace it, number one. Know it's coming, and put all the illusionary shit to the side. Like you say, everybody comes at first on, yeah, I'm gonna do magic, I'm gonna do money magic. That's everybody's goal, But I keep telling people what you just said, Taja, and what Raven was talking about earlier. If you gain the knowledge of self first, everything else comes. Trust me. The materialistic shit is secondary. Excuse me. It will come. And I always use that biblical parable of Solomon, right? And I always use that biblical quote in Matthew 6, verse 33, right? Solomon could have had anything he wanted in the world. He could have asked for all the gold and riches on the planet. He would have got it, according to the symbolic story. What did he ask for? He asked for the knowledge and the wisdom, right? And then that quote in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, right? What does it say? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. Look at that from a left-hand path perspective. Seek knowledge of self first. And all that shit, the money magic and all the cars and the physical things, that's all gonna come. If your intent is what you just said, brother, first, starts with self. It's about getting self right. Knowledge of self is step one.
Absolutely. I mean, coming in now 6 months, understanding with that understanding, working with Kali. I mean, it's like my life is like night and day. Just the revelations I've had, the changes I've made, and the things I've attracted.
That's right.
It was a newer brother that called in last week, and he was talking to you about going out in the backyard and doing a ritual to pop a legba, and if he was going to get struck if he's going to get struck by lightning. And my answer to that, like, I wanted to call him and be like, yeah, you're going to get struck by lightning. Because that change is going to hit you and open your eyes up to so many new aspects of yourself.
That's true. Because like I say, if you approach it with that, and that's why you've always heard me say over the years in different videos, I always ask people, what's your intent or purpose for coming on this path? I know you're going to get the basic stuff. Oh, well, I was drawn to it. Certain things caught my attention. I got interested. All right, I get that. That's the natural inclination. But what is your purpose, your intent on this path? And it should be geared, in my opinion, in some shape, form, or fashion, for now, gain that knowledge of self, unlock your true power, that transformation and change that you need to become the person that you're destined to be, right? That's first and foremost. But if you come on the path like, yeah, I'm fucked up, I got all this bullshit, I ain't going to deal with that, but let me do some money magic rituals. It's not going to work. I can tell you that right out the gate. You're wasting your time. For newer people that might be listening, unfortunately, there are people who come on this path with those false expectations. It's not a reality. Trust me when I tell you, and your living experience of it, Taja. I know Jack, he spoke on it just not too long ago, talking about sometimes just got to let it be. You can overthink shit. Raven shared her experiences. Mandy's, been doing it for a bit now, and it's just not a reality. But sometimes it's, you need that reality check. And that's the best way I can describe the tough motherly love of Kali, the Holy Death. That's how they work. And if you're, I ain't gonna mean sugarcoat. I got to use the term to if you're a soft little, bitch, I hate to say it, it's not gonna be pleasant for you, because it's like you just said, Taja, it's not that coddling energy. If that's what you think it is, like if you're looking for some very nurturing, laid back, tranquil, it's okay, baby, it's gonna be all right. No, that's not this.
That's what I wrote in the room before. I was like, sometimes you need to ask. You're not gonna get what you want. You're gonna get what you need, and sometimes you need that ass open to wake the fuck up. That's exactly what I wrote in the room before, and that's what happened to me. Wake up, take my ass.
That's it. Correctamundo. Anything else, brother Tyler?
But the key was I knew exactly where it was coming from.
Exactly. Taj, you got anything else?
The only other thing was for the brother that was talking about, you know, changing up the deities.
Right.
You know, I've been constantly working with Kali, but you know, as you know, I also been working with my ancestor altar, and I
That's
also incorporated a little bit of Tiamat. But even if I'm not working with Kali per se, I do a Kali mantra every day. You know, it's just to stay
it.
connected to that.
Yeah, because we're all gonna have some of those core archetypes that we have a connection to. And I always talk about that. Well, there's gonna be some we work more with than others, and that's okay. But I always say don't get stuck or exclusive. But let me take this call real quick. Greetings, call. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Brother Doom.
Brother Doom. Why don't you come in through the why don't you come in through the chat, brother? You too good? You too good for us left-hand path folks? You too good? You can't be in, you can't, that's racist, man. That's discrimination, brother. Nah, I'm just messing with you. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. I just appreciate the love. You know, I create out of just a necessity to calm my mind sometimes. So whenever I do a piece, I do it first for myself, just to center myself. Then it's just, you know, an opportunity to make someone class on the side. So I appreciate the love.
Nah, we appreciate it.
No doubt. No doubt.
Nah, we appreciate it.
No doubt. No doubt.
Check out hip
No
hop.
doubt. No doubt.
Hip hop Raven. She's coming out with her new album. Her MC name is MC Ain't Shit. It's on Bullshit Records.
No doubt. No doubt.
Cop that joint.
No doubt. That's the first single. No doubt.
No doubt. The whole song is just a beat, and she keeps saying, "No doubt, no doubt."
Cause you know what, Duma. I'm gonna say this here, Duma. Listen. Everything aside, honestly, I'm not that one. I don't walk with that kind of animosity. I don't walk with that kind of energy. I'm not jealous of no fucking body. You know, as I said, we all need to live and eat. You understand? So I don't give a fuck. You know, if I can create a space for someone else to grow in their space and business, I'll create that space. It's going to cost me nothing, and it's going to cost you nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. I'm just not that chick. I just don't. You know, some people try to hold shit to the best and do. I'm just not that. So I just want you to
look.
man,
there's
you know
enough to go around for everybody. If you're confident in doing what you're doing, look,
exactly.
I get guests on the show that do similar work that I do. They do consultations, readings. I mean, I have Bokor on here, Priestess Asset. You know, list goes on and on. I mean, I don't feel like I can't share that platform with them. If you know, like I said, people are gonna have their own group or niche when it comes to business. You're always gonna have a certain, you know, clientele that's gonna come to you regardless. You know,
regardless.
So that's like what Raven's saying. Everybody got to eat, and if you approach it like that, you're always gonna have. Now, you know what's necessary, but I think where it can backfire on you, like you say, you can't take that approach where you get a little greedy, this and that. So that's why I like to, you know, shout out people that are doing stuff that's related to what we do, you know. And, you know, you make jewelry and stuff, Bafa does stuff, Raven does stuff, and whoever else that maybe we don't know about, you know, let us know. Now come with some legit shit. Don't be like, you know, don't come with no, you know. You know, I
make these beats, you know what I'm saying? I'm like my Casio, you know what I'm saying?
I gotta
make these beats, boy.
Hit me up. you know, make sure it's something like what we do. You know, don't be trying to come like you're selling VHS tapes or some shit. You know,
we're not having it over here. That's why I stated too. We're gonna have that conversation. It's not like that. You know, we're not having that kind of party.
You know what? When it comes to getting this paper, man, I say this, man. I keep wondering. When it comes to get this paper, if you doing something, you have a fun with it. Because I've noticed the times when you like trying to figure this shit out.
That's right.
It's hard. But the time you just like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna stress the money. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna feel good. And then the inspiration coming, you're like, you know what? Do this in your business. You do it. Boom. Money start pouring in. It's like when it comes to business, of course, you know, you got to put your intellect in, you got to put thought into it, but a majority of business decisions is about your gut, right? Your gut instincts. And if you incorporate that, you know, you're always gonna eat. But you know what I'm saying? But yo, let me tell you, if you making money and I'm not making money, I hate you. That's what it is. That's what it is. Now I'm playing with you.
That's it. That's it, man.
Hey.
That's what it's about, man. Straight thugged out. Straight thugged out, man. Gotta be a straight hardcore thug, man.
Nah, man.
It's go today.
Just have fun with this shit.
But it is like I say, you know, you make stuff, Duma. You know, you set me a piece. It's good work. You know, I wear it when I wear it. It's good work. You know, Bafa made me a piece. I wear it. You know what I mean? And it's for that. It's called networking. You know, something we don't, in my opinion, do enough. And there could be somebody in here who could be somebody in here to make T-shirts. You know, we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that. Let people make it known. So, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make it known, man, because I'd be pretty dope. Because I think everybody's willing to support. It's just, you know, again, it's just maybe we should do that. Like you know, I mean, at the end of the show, everybody, hey, you know, support this. You know, they tell you what they're doing. You know, and just kind of let people know. And at the end of the show, you know what I mean? I'd be trying to tell you though.
You know, and then talk amongst yourselves. You know, I know you guys sometimes talk in the chat. You know, talk amongst yourselves. If something come up, like, hey, you know, oh yeah, I do that. Oh, you know, not only that. I mean, somebody in here could be in the same vicinity. Maybe they are a painting contractor. You know, maybe they're a plumber. We don't know this. You know what I mean? Like Mandy has a plumbing company, right? You could be in her area. Say you need some serious plumbing work done. Her and Dave have their own plumbing company.
You smell shit, we smell money.
There you go. When you know, smelling that, you know, Dookie and Badussi. Mandy and Dave, straight up Dookie and Badussi. Mandy and Dave. There you go. No, let me stop.
Plug.
But I'm just saying, we don't know. There's people in here that have skills and trades, and we don't know that. You know, could be somebody in here. Maybe they're an attorney. We don't fucking know that. You know what I mean? But not just looking at the, you know, the retail business part of it. Yeah, that's important. But there could be people in here with professions, skills, and trades. You know what I mean? It could be somebody in here to own, you know, work or own a car dealership, and you might be in your area and you're in the market now for a car. We don't know these things. That's like what Jack said. The communication got to come in. So we got to look at it. I try to support, you know, friends and family, obviously first, but you know, I try to support, you know, like mind and like kind when it comes to stuff like that. If you have the ability, now, you know, obviously if you don't, and you got to go to a neutral source, that's fine. But you know, we just don't know. We have a lot of this stuff amongst us, but part of it comes with, you know, communicating. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's a good point. But what else you got for us, Duma? We're about to wrap this up, man.
Oh, I did have a question.
Go ahead.
About Carly and La Santissima.
I got you. The whole day. Yeah, La Santissima Muerte.
Yeah, it's no disrespect though. I'm just trying to get with the language.
Nah, I'm just playing around, man. Go ahead, man.
My question was, they're both very powerful energies. Like, can you have one statue not on the same altar, but on different altars, in the same room, but on different altars? Can that be possible?
Most definitely. That's how I have mine. Yeah, of course. Okay.
That's how I have mine.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Just the actual space is not recommended. You know, the altar space is not recommended to share with any other energy because of how volatile it is. That's all. So, yeah, I mean, you know, not everybody has the space where they can have, you know, things in multitude of separate rooms. I chose to set my spiritual stuff up in I have my whole garage space, which is attached to the house, a whole part of my garage, not all of it, a whole part of my garage that was sectioned off because I want to keep everything there separate because, you know, you have not family and friends. I just don't like certain prying eyes, you know, neutral visitors, not my family and friends that know, but sometimes you got to have other things going on in the house. And it's just, I don't want really anything creating static. Like that's just me. I know some people have a house that's open and they have it everywhere. It's highly visible, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that. If that's your vibe and your energy, but me, I tend to look at my stuff as more personal. I don't want a lot of other people sucking energy from it, gazing upon it. And it's just a thing that I have. I don't like people that don't know shit about it, trying to ask questions about it, because it's draining. And it's just me and my experience over the years. So I made a conscious decision to create a big room where I could fit everything in there. But as far as in relation to your Holy Death space, just have whatever altar space, table space, section that she is on should be by itself. So that's important. But no, it's okay to have them in the same room. You know, it's not like, you know, you're going to get attacked while you're sleeping and shit, knifed to death or something like that. No, that's not going to happen.
Knifed to death.
You know what I mean? You ain't going to be sleeping in here. You know, you ain't going to go to sleep if they had them on the same altar and you went to bed later. You ain't going to hear. Nah, I'm just fucking around.
I have heard of people having certain experiences, like certain things, like the statue moving a certain way and things of that nature.
Well, yes, but you know it's more worrisome than that. What could tend to happen, internal issues. I've also, and I experienced part of this in my beginning stages working with it. Migraine headaches, confusion. Because remember, you're connecting those archetypes with certain aspects of your psyche. And the energy of the Holy Death can be very intense. So sometimes when it's mixed or intermingled with other energies, it creates an internal conflict. That's my concern more. And not just myself. You can read from other spiritual practitioners that have experience working with the Holy Death. They will share very similar experiences. But I have heard of the external stuff that you're talking about. But when I came to the realization, when I first started working with it, when I had it connect, I immediately walked into my altar room and it hit me right off the bat. And I looked, and the first message that came to my mind was like, I came and shook it. Santa Martha was like, bitch, when are you going to move me? Like, you know what I mean? Like
yo, that's how she really talked to. Stop.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what else do I got to do? You know, what I got to do? Give you headaches so bad that you just vomit and start puking? Is that
the other day I lit an incense for her. I got these new incense. It's copal and white sage.
And did that come with that? That come with that other incense you got, booty musk? You got it in cones, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yo,
no,
Dave,
but seriously, no, but speaking,
pack of booty musk.
No, but
it smelled like ass when you light it, right?
That shit you used to sell on the street. But stop.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, but serious on a serious though, like as far as Santa making you feel, you know, her presence, and if she doesn't like something, I lit that incense for her just because it had copal in it. And I kept asking them, like, why am I feeling lightheaded? I'm doing paperwork, I'm feeling lightheaded, and then all of a sudden it just hit me, like right in the back of my head. I looked over and I was like, she don't like the incense. I legit all day felt like I was gonna pass out. As soon as I turned it off, felt better. And
that's a good point. That's the difference. We have to understand the difference between working with spirits, archetypes, your ancestors, and your personal daemon, which is really the facilitator of it all. But I think sometimes I've been mentioning this a lot the last few months. Understand the difference. So we're talking about a spirit. We're talking about, when we're talking about Santa Muerte, we're talking about working with a specific spirit. Because some people get caught up in this whole, it is internal. Everything begins mental, no doubt. But there are other aspects to this. And I think that sometimes it gets all tangled together and it's not. And that's why a lot of the things that we're talking about now and some of the aspects that govern it, these are why these things are happening. It's no different when you're working with the law, or you're working with the spirits of the dead. When you're accessing those energies and spirits, you have to have the understanding of how they work and how they affect you. That's not the same as taking an Egyptian archetype, for an example. That's not the same as taking an Orishi and Ifa. And it's not the same as working with the spirits of Palo Mayimbe. That's even a whole nother level of shit. Because they're different energies. They function differently. They have different effects. They vibrate and resonate with individuals differently. And it's important to understand that by you doing your work, obviously. So it gives you the awareness of how to work with them. So we have to understand that. Don't be, and I'm just speaking in general, don't be one-minded in your approach, because that'll fuck you up. I've seen it happen a lot. But anyway.
That was it. That was all I had.
All right, man. We appreciate it. I think that's going to be the final call. We've been on for over 3 hours. We are going to wrap this up. Again, real quick, we will be back on Tuesday night. We'll be talking about Luciferian sorcery. I'm going to reach out to Brother Bokor Rodney Coleman. Meant to call him today. I'm going to call him tomorrow and see if we can get him on next Thursday. And Bafa, I know you're in the room. I had tried to reach out to you yesterday. Try to get you on maybe the Thursday after that if you're available. But I'll connect with you and we'll.
Are you gonna get Priestess Offset back on again too?
Yeah, I actually spoke to her yesterday. She's very busy right now. She's got a lot of work she's doing. I spoke with her yesterday, but we were talking maybe in about 3 weeks she should be maybe have some more time. I told her I'll touch base with her in a couple weeks. But I did. I gave her a call yesterday because I wanted to go back through the cycle of some of the females and get them back on. But I'll check back with her in a few weeks.
Yes.
All right.
Raven.
All right. And then maybe I'll even reach out to Oni. Try to get her back on. But we'll go through the cycle again. We'll see. We'll go week by week. But I'm gonna try to get Bokor on next week. And then we'll try to get Bafa on the week after that. All right. On Thursday, that is. So I'll see everybody on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll take it from there, people. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you hang out, party, have fun, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Make sure you drink before you drive. No, I'm gonna stop. But just be smart in what you do, people. Be safe, all right? Peace.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Yep.